Chapter 3246. Five Half-Saints. Hearing this, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon looked grave. The joint forces of five half-saints was already an extremely terrifying force, but now 4 of them had been killed, and 1 was seriously injured. It was unbelievable. What kind of existence was this? How could it be so terrifying? The Crimson Dragon asked. The young half-saint shook his head, his eyes filled with fear. We don't know. He doesn't seem to have a body and can transform into many forms. He can even split. His body seems to be immortal. No matter how serious his injuries are, they can heal quickly. He calls himself an immortal, a unique immortal. What? An immortal? Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon exclaimed as soon as he said that. Their eyes were filled with seriousness. If he was really an immortal, then they were in danger. Even the great emperors couldn't become immortals. They knew how terrifying immortals were. But soon, the Crimson Dragon shook his head. It was impossible. There couldn't be any immortals here. A great emperor could rule thousands of worlds and sweep across the universe, let alone an immortal. If he was really an immortal, he would have gone out and ruled thousands of worlds. Why would he hide in a forest? Lin Xian nodded and calmed down. The little white monkey on his shoulder was gnawing on a spiritual fruit. Its big black eyes were filled with curiosity. It said, I seem to feel a strange energy in front of us, but it doesn't seem to be an edible fruit. A strange energy. Could it be a Dao stone? Lin Xian was shocked. His eyes lit up. He and the Crimson Dragon looked at each other and took a deep breath. No matter how dangerous it was, they still had to take a look. But suddenly, Lin Xian's hair stood on end. The pale face of the very weak young half-saint in front of him suddenly became ferocious. His eyes had also turned green, and his body was emitting a sinister aura. In the next moment, he roared madly and instantly attacked Lin Xian. This attack could be said to be unexpected. The Crimson Dragon was shocked, and Lin Xian's pupils shrank. At this distance, he couldn't dodge at all. He could only take it head-on. Boom! When the attack landed on him, it immediately tore apart the sword light on his body and landed on his body. Lin Xian was sent flying. Fortunately, his divine body was strong enough to block the attack. However, Lin Xian's blood was still boiling. Damn it! The Crimson Dragon roared angrily and swung its tail. Like a raging wave hitting the shore, it slapped the injured half-saint away. Damn it! We saved you out of kindness, but you actually dare to bite the hand that feeds you. He roared as if he had gone mad. The snow-white little monkey was also panting with rage, waving its little paws. Lin Xian stood up and suppressed his boiling blood. He gritted his teeth and said, No, there's something wrong with me. He raised his head and looked ahead. As expected, the injured half-saint in front of him was sent flying. He hit a giant tree branch in the distance and fell down. His expression was ferocious and painful. Kill me. I beg you, kill me. He's here. He's in my body. What the hell? The Crimson Dragon was shocked. It seemed that there was something in the injured half-saint's body that was controlling him. It's him. It's that unkillable thing. He has a clone in my body. Kill me quickly. Give me a quick death. The injured half-saint screamed, crazily. In the next moment, he completely lost his mind. His face was also covered in green light. It was extremely distorted. The blood on his body was no longer flowing. He emitted a cold aura and a murderous intent. He roared and quickly attacked Lin Xian. The surrounding ancient trees and plants were all mobilized by him. They formed countless attacks and suppressed Lin Xian. In an instant, Lin Xian felt as if he was facing the North Demon. The blood in his body was boiling as if it was about to be sucked away. He snorted coldly. The great dragon sword soul in his body surged and destroyed this terrifying power. Buzz. At this moment, The injured half-saint had already charged over. Terrifying law fragments rose from his body and formed a light palm that grabbed Lin Xian's head. This light palm could tear everything apart. It was extremely terrifying. Sword come! Lin Xian roared as he waved the countless fragments of the nomological laws of metal in his hand, forming a golden sword of light. The sharp aura of the dragon's soul flickered on the sword. Buzz! The sword slashed out. The power of the law, accompanied by the power of the great dragon sword soul, slashed forward. The sword slashed the half-saint apart. The half-saint's soul floated in the void. Lin Xian could clearly see that there was a green ghost face on the half-saint's translucent soul. It was extremely ferocious. It must be this green ghost face that controlled the half-saint. Kill me, the half-saint's soul said weakly. It was obvious that he was in great pain. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He knew that the half-saint would not be able to survive. Thinking of this, he waved his sword again. A terrifying sword, intent, released a terrifying power and slashed forward. Feeling the power of the sword, the green ghost face screamed and dodged instantly. However, how could he dodge Lin Xian's sword chi? The sword chi turned into a green lotus and enveloped the half-saint, quickly obliterating him. However, this attack not only obliterated the green ghost face, but also the half-saint's soul. In the end, the half-saint's soul that was getting fainter smiled. He stared at Lin Xian and seemed to be relieved. Thank you. Whoosh. The half-saint's soul vanished. The half-saint had completely fallen. Lin Xian's heart was a little heavy. What was this ghost face? It was too terrifying. It could actually control a half-saint. Moreover, looking at the half-saint's terrified look, it seemed that he had no strength to fight back at all. It seemed that there was great danger ahead. Kid, let's go and take a look. Ben Huang wanted to see what the hell was that thing that dared to call itself an immortal. They quickly overtook the enemy and charged forward. At this moment, another group of people came to the elf forest. It was the purple-robed young man and his two servants. The purple-robed young man looked at the forest below. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. A piercing cold light appeared in his eyes. I can feel it. I can feel the aura of the octatic treasure snake. As long as I can obtain the octatic treasure snake, I can guarantee that my strength will increase again. Perhaps I can use it to break through and become a true half-saint. This purple-robed young man was the young man that Lin Xian had met on the Langistar. His name was Ziyu Hao. He was ranked 10th on the Abyss leaderboard. He was a powerful young genius and also a half-saint. The target he was looking for was a kind of exotic beast called the octatic treasure snake. It was already extinct, and only very few worlds had it. There was one in the elf forest. It seemed that the other party had come for it. He sneered and entered the elf forest with his two servants. Chapter 3247. Ziyu Hao led the two servants into the elf forest, and soon they encountered danger. However, Ziyu Hao sneered. He was a powerful young genius, and his strength was terrifying. He did not even need to make a move, as the two servants beside him could handle it. Just like that, they passed through, outside the elf forest. If they continued forward, they would reach the depths of the elf forest. The aura ahead made Ziyu Hao stop smiling, and his expression became a little solemn. The two servants beside him were on high alert, as if they were facing a great enemy. Soon, they entered the depths of the elf forest. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, one of the servants suddenly let out a miserable shriek. His body was pierced by a branch, and the branch carried a terrifying power, sucking his blood dry. Master, save me. The servant abandoned his physical body, and his soul floated out, screaming in the sky. Not good. The other servant's pupils constricted. It was too terrifying. He also activated his domain and covered his body. The armor on his body shone with a piercing cold light. In the next moment, he was sent flying, and he vomited a large mouthful of blood. He was attacked as well. See you how sneered. A mere tree demon dares to be arrogant in front of me? He pulled out a short saber and waved it out. The purple short saber swayed, carrying with it a terrifying fragment of the law. The saber slashed out, and all the branches in the surroundings were cut into pieces. With more than 10 slashes, the terrifying tree demon was sent running away. The two servants heaved a sigh of relief. The soul in the sky entered the body, absorbing the power of heaven and earth, and recovered again. Thank you, Master, for your help. The servant knelt on the ground, very respectful. The other servant also had a face full of admiration. Master's strength was extremely strong, and he could sweep through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. A mere elf forest could not do anything to him. Yuhao snorted. Of course, let's go. He strode forward, and the two servants followed closely behind. After walking for about an hour, Yuhao frowned. He felt as if he was being stared at by a mysterious pair of eyes. He snorted, and countless saber lights rushed out from his body, carrying with them a terrifying phantom of the law, and slashed in all directions. Even the void was torn apart. Master, there is a corpse in front. A servant pointed at the bones in front and exclaimed. Yuhao frowned as well. Half saints' corpses. Half saints had fallen here, and there was more than one. Just as they were about to step forward to investigate, the servant on the left suddenly let out a blood-curdling scream. His expression became incomparably strange as he frantically attacked. Humph! Yuhao snorted coldly. His body shook, and the purple light on his body formed a barrier. Does he not know what happened to his servant? But how could a mere power that was close to the Tao resist? He really overestimated himself. However, in the next moment, he made a light sound. That was because he discovered that his servant's attack had actually pierced through the light he had shot out. Get lost! This was no longer a power that was close to the Tao, and it was enough to threaten him. Yuhao shouted coldly. With a wave of his sleeve, a terrifying energy blasted out along with a storm. It was as if it could tear the entire world apart. Pung! The servant was sent flying. His body was torn apart, but he quickly reassembled. His face turned incomparably green, and his body emitted a green light. Damn it, what's going on? Yuhao tightly frowned. However, at that moment, the other servant beside him also became incomparably strange. Both of them underwent a strange change and attacked him. A purple short blade appeared in Yuhao's hand. He slashed out, and the two servants were cut in half. However, the state of the two servants at that moment was very strange. They seemed to have endless vitality. Although their bodies were shattered, they reassembled and quickly charged forward. Damn it! Yuhao roared angrily and fought with them. In the end, although he killed the two servants, his expression was very ugly. He had consumed a lot of energy in this battle because the other party was too difficult to kill. In the end, he discovered a green ghost face on the souls of the two servants, which made his heart beat wildly. What was that thing? He did not know, but he knew that there should be a terrifying existence inside. Damn it, I don't want to provoke that thing. I have to quickly find the octatic treasure snake and leave quickly. He was no longer as calm as when he came. Before he came, he thought that he was a top heavenly sect, a young half-step saint who could suppress everything. A mere elf forest was nothing in his eyes. But now he realized that he was wrong. This place was really terrifying. He estimated that he was not a match for it at all. Fortunately, he did not encounter the other party's main body. He only exchanged blows with the other party from a distance. Thinking of that, Yuhao turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the forest. In the forest, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon continued on their way. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. Fortunately, he had the great dragon sword soul. His sword Qi was abnormally sharp and could destroy everything. That was why he could easily kill that monster. Otherwise, if it was another half-step saint, it might be very troublesome, or even lose their lives. Suddenly, the aura in front of them became cold, and the surrounding plants also turned dark green. Most of them were poisonous. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were especially careful. However, at that moment, Whitey cheered. "Yeah, I seem to have sensed something delicious. Oh, a natural treasure?" Lin Xian activated the heavenly secret divine eye and looked in all directions. Soon he was stunned. Through the heavenly secret divine eye, he saw a cold pond tens of thousands of miles away. That cold pond was emitting a terrifying cold aura. However, Lin Xian's attention was not on the cold pond, but around it. There was a plant. It shone brilliantly, and there was a fruit on it. It was like a dancing snake. It was a snake essence fruit, and it seemed to be a 10,000 years snake essence fruit. Lin Xian hurriedly recounted what he had seen. The Crimson Divine Dragon took a deep breath after hearing what he had said. The little white monkey squinted its big eyes. It was indeed delicious. This little guy is really a foodie. Let's go. Lin Xian smiled and waved his hand. They quickly rushed over. Lin Xian had never seen a 10,000 years spiritual herb before. However, he saw one in the elf forest this time. He did not expect to see another one now. How could he give up? He must get the snake essence fruit. Soon, they crossed tens of thousands of miles and arrived near the cold pond. Their eyes were all on the snake essence fruit. Whitey ran to the front and stretched out its furry paws, wanting to pick the snake essence fruit. However, at that moment, there was a change in the cold pond. An extremely sinister beam of light with terrifying power pierced through the void and shot toward the little white monkey. Whitey turned into a white light and dodged quickly. However, it did not have the chance to pick the 10,000 years snake essence fruit. So angry. Whitey was fuming. Lin Xian furrowed his brows as he shifted his gaze from the 10,000 year snake spirit fruit to the cold pond beside him. Could it be that there was something in the cold pond? Chapter 3248. The Crimson Dragon looked over and said, "Kid, I can sense an aura. It seems that there is a demonic beast inside." "Is there a demonic beast?" Lin Xian frowned. Then he sneered and raised his hand. Dozens of sword Qi rushed in. Instantly, the cold pond was pierced through and an angry roar came from inside. Then countless cold pond water danced, turning into water pillars that pierced through the void. They were like waves crashing in all directions. From the water pillars that filled the sky, a huge creature rushed out. This was a huge snake. It was very huge, at least 1,000 feet long. Its body carried a monstrous, cold, baleful aura. Its huge head emitted a cold light. Not only that, what was even stranger was that on the snake's body, there were 8 eyes that flickered. What kind of demonic beast was this? So strange. Lin Xian looked at the 8 strange eyes and frowned. Those 8 eyes were incomparably blood red and looked very strange. With a glance, it was as if they could pierce through one soul. Lin Xian coldly snorted. Light soared from his body, cutting off this terrifying connection. At the side, the Crimson Dragon screamed. Octatic treasure snake. There was actually an octatic treasure snake here. Octatic treasure snake. What was that? Lin Xian asked. The Crimson Dragon said, "Ancient mutated beasts were extremely terrifying. It was just that they didn't expect to encounter one here. One had to know that the octatic treasure snake had been extinct for a long time. Some worlds basically didn't have it. They didn't expect that there would actually be one in this elf forest. What a pleasant surprise. Kid, This octatic treasure snake is useful to me. I must kill it. The Crimson Dragon's eyes lit up. Okay, Lin Xian nodded. With a wave of his hand, the terrifying fragments of the law of water returned. Instantly, the surrounding cold pond was controlled. The power of the law rushed into the void. In an instant, the surrounding pond water transformed into chains that rushed over, instantly enveloping the huge body of the octatic treasure snake. Roar! The octatic treasure snake roared towards the sky. Damn human, you actually dare to attack me? Damn it! He opened his mouth and spat out a blue breath. It was like a wave, but also like a bolt of lightning. It instantly streaked across the sky and charged towards Lin Xian. Boom! Seeing the other party charging at him, Lin Xian raised his fist and punched out. At this moment, he was like the god of fire. His fist carried a terrifying flame energy as he rushed out. In an instant, the blue aura was shattered. Lin Xian roared and soared into the sky. Despicable human, you actually dare to disturb my rest. Go to hell! The octatic treasure snake roared angrily, its enormous body swaying. The chains formed by the frigid pond's water were instantly shattered. He let out a roar as his figure was teleported toward Lin Xian. With a loud bang, Lin Xian kicked out and collided with his opponent. In the next moment, Lin Xian was sent flying. The octatic treasure snake was also sent flying, its massive body crashing into the ground, crushing a large area of the forest. 1,000,000 miles of cracks appeared on the ground. Damn it! The octatic treasure snake roared toward the sky. Lin Xian was extremely surprised. What a powerful physique. It actually wasn't damaged at all. At the same time, he was surprised. The other party's strength was also very powerful. It was actually able to send him flying. Brat, be careful. The octatic treasure snake isn't simple. At the side, the Crimson Dragon reminded him and also flew over. When it saw the Crimson Dragon, a cold smile appeared in the octatic treasure snake's huge eyes. Damn snake, you actually dare to make a move against your ancestor? Pooey, F***CK your grandpa? You snake! The dark rainbow divine dragon was furious. With a roar, its body grew larger and divine light bloomed. Clouds and mist drifted, and lightning surrounded it. He transformed into a divine dragon that was 1,000 feet long. A dragon's roar resounded through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. On the other side, the octatic treasure snake was impacted. Its body trembled, but it was soon controlled by him. Its huge eyes shone with a terrifying light. Dragon race, you are actually a dragon. She was truly shocked, but soon she laughed loudly. Ha ha ha! Looks like my luck is really good. I actually encountered a dragon. Moreover, it's a dragon with mediocre strength. That's fine too. After eating you, I might be able to evolve again. Its huge body swayed, and it threw itself towards the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon waved its dragon claws, bringing with it a thunderstorm to contend against it. The two huge monsters began to fight. The forest within 1,000,000 miles continuously collapsed, and the void shattered. It was a scene of destruction. The commotion here attracted a figure in the distance. In the distant forest, Ziyu Hao's expression was grave. He had searched for so long, but he still hadn't seen the octatic treasure snake. This made him a little angry. Could it be that the news was wrong? But that shouldn't be. How could the news from the Langius star be wrong? It should be in this forest. However, this forest was too huge. It covered the entire world. He couldn't find it at all in a short period of time. And he didn't want to stay in the depths of this forest for a long time. After all, what had happened before had left him with lingering fear. However, just as he was feeling anxious, suddenly a violent vibration came from the distance. There was even a terrifying roar. That sound caused the blood in his body to boil. What a terrifying aura. Could it be the octatic treasure snake? Thinking of this, Zi Yuhao was incomparably excited. He turned into a stream of light, tore through the void, and quickly flew in the direction of the sound. Chapter 3249. Zi Yuhao's body became fainter and fainter before completely merging into the void and disappearing. At the same time, he pulled out a purple dagger in the dark. In the next moment, he turned into a stream of light and flew downwards like a ghost. As a half-step saint, his speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he arrived below, behind the red-clothed youth. The dagger in his hand carried the power of law as he stabbed forward. Below, Lin Xian stood at the edge of the battlefield and watched the battle. All of his attention was on the battlefield in front of him because he was really curious about the octatic treasure snake. He didn't know what the 8 eyes on his back were for. Up until now, the magical powers and laws that the octatic treasure snake had used had nothing to do with the 8 eyes. Just as he was thinking, a terrifying force suddenly appeared behind him and stabbed towards him. Damn it! Someone was here. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. In the next moment, he was sent flying by this huge force. Haha, kid, you definitely won't survive after being hit by me. Zi Yuhao transformed into his human form and sneered. He was a top genius ranked 10th on the Abyss list, and his strength was extremely powerful. Even a veteran half-step saint was not his match, let alone his current strength. With a surprise attack, the other party would definitely be killed with a single slash. Damn it, it's actually you. You actually dare to attack me? A cold voice came from the front. Immediately after, a red-robed figure walked over. The other party's red robe was shattered, but it quickly recovered. Lin Xian's red robe was condensed from power, so he wasn't afraid of it being shattered at all. How was this possible? He wasn't injured. Seeing that Lin Xian's aura was strong and there wasn't a single drop of blood, Zi Yuhao was stunned. Could it be that the other party was wearing a half-step saint artifact battle armor? His expression was ugly, but it shouldn't be. Even if he was wearing battle armor, this attack could cause the other party to suffer internal injuries. It seemed that the other party should have forcefully suppressed the injuries in his body. Thinking of this, he sneered. Kid, I didn't expect you to have a top-grade artifact to protect yourself. You're really lucky, but unfortunately you met me. Now obediently accept your death, and I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, your fate will be very miserable. Zi Yuhao snorted coldly as an extremely cold aura emanated from his body. Even though he didn't die from this attack, so what? Even if he were to fight his opponent head-on, he would still be able to kill his opponent. The sneak attack just now was just to kill him in one blow and not cause any unnecessary trouble. To tell you the truth, I'm ranked 10th on the Abyss leaderboard. Zi Yuhao, you should have heard of my name, right? Kneel down and accept your death. Zi Yuhao shouted, announcing his name and identity in order to intimidate the other party. After all, with the Abyss ranking and purple names, which one of them wasn't a world-shaking peerless powerhouse. If the other party heard this, he would be scared witless. 10th on the Abyss leaderboard? When Lin Xian heard this, he frowned. Seeing Lin Xian's strange expression, Zi Yuhao sneered. Brat, are you afraid? If you are, then obediently accept your death. In his opinion, no one would not be afraid of him, unless they were ranked higher than him. However, there were only a few people ranked higher than him, and he knew most of them. What's more, the aura of those ranked higher than him was terrifying. He could probably recognize them at a glance. Even Lu Mu and Yen Nantian had to retreat in front of me, let alone you. Lin Xian snorted coldly with a hint of disdain in his eyes. What? Heard this? Zi Yuhao, who was in front of him, was stunned. He knew Lu Mu and Yen Nantian. He knew Lu Mu, who was ranked 1 place higher than him, ranked 9th. Although he had never seen Yen Nantian, he had heard that the other party was the successor of a great emperor, and his strength and talent were very strong. and it was said that he was ranked fourth this time. He had completely surpassed him. In fact, if he calculated it this way, his ranking should not be 10th, but 11th. Lu Mu and Yen Nantian were both relatively powerful existences. But what did the other party say? These two people retreated in front of the other party? What a joke. Brat, you really know how to talk big. If it were an ordinary person, they might really be scared by you. But if you want to lie to me, there is no possibility at all. Who do you think you are to be able to beat Lu Mu and Yen Nantian? What a joke. Zi Yuhao did not believe it at all. You don't believe it, right? It doesn't matter. I will beat you until you believe it. Lin Xian snorted coldly and quickly rushed to the left. Damn brat. I was careless just now. Now, I will take it seriously. You are definitely no match for me. Zi Yuhao snorted and took a step forward. The aura on his body suddenly burst out, and a terrifying power filled the entire space. At this moment, he seemed to have really turned into a peerless god of war. The short knife in his hand slashed out crazily again. However, this time, Lin Xian's expression was also incomparably dignified. He raised a palm and moved it forward. Suddenly, the sky fell and the earth cracked. This palm was like the palm of a deity. It covered the entire space, and the purple aura was crushed continuously. Zi Yuhao's attack was also quickly split apart under this palm. Not good. Zi Yuhao's expression changed greatly. He felt that the other party's palm was like a five-fingered mountain with a terrifying power that could suppress him. If it were an ordinary sage-to-be, he would probably dodge quickly. But he was ranked 10th on the ranking list. How could he dodge? His glory did not allow him to dodge. With a roar, Zi Yuhao held the short knife and faced the attack. The entire space collapsed quickly. Purple aura surged, and a terrifying knife light soared into the sky again. It was as if the knife god was roaring. Lin Xian's palm fell mercilessly, bringing with it the law of fire fragments and mysterious runes. Boom! The entire space shook violently. Zi Yuhao was enveloped by this palm. The short knife in his hand was sent flying. Not only that, his body was directly slapped to the ground by this palm. Boom, boom, boom. The ground continued to shatter, and a huge abyss appeared. Zi Yuhao's body fell into the ground. Lin Xian sneered. So what if he was ranked 10th in the abyss? In front of him, he was still sent flying by a palm. Damn it. How could this guy be so terrifying? In the distance, the octatic treasure snake, who was fighting with the crimson dragon, felt the power of this palm, and its expression changed. He could feel that not only was the power of the law of fire fragments powerful, but this palm was more of the power of the physical body. This guy's physique was actually so strong. He was simply a human-shaped Tyrannosaurus. The octatic treasure snake frowned. If Lin Xian attacked and joined forces with the crimson dragon, then he would really be in danger. Thinking of this, he roared angrily and attacked crazily. The crimson dragon also used the dragon race's great mystique to suppress the other party. While he was puzzled, Lin Xian understood. Since you've used up your sacred art, then you should have a taste of my sacred art. He stomped his foot and charged forward like a god of war. He formed a seal with his palm, and the image of a mountain appeared. It was a giant flaming mountain that was tens of thousands of feet tall and covered in terrifying laws and flames. As the palm fell, a mountain of flames descended from the sky, as if it wanted to suppress the other party into a bloody mist. Not good. What a terrifying power. Zi Yuhao's face became extremely ugly. He could only wave the short knife in his hand to block. However, after 10 moves, Zi Yuhao's body exploded, turning into a bloody mist. The half-saint blood filled the air and pierced through the void. Soon his body reassembled. His face was extremely pale, but as soon as he reassembled, he was split apart by a sword. At this moment, his entire body was numb. The sword chi that split him was too cold. His body could not completely heal. Although it was reassembled, if one looked carefully, they would find cracks and a vacuum. "Who are you? Who the hell are you?" Ziyu Hao screamed crazily. He was about to despair. The other party was too powerful and had completely surpassed him. Suddenly, he remembered what the other party had said before. Lu Mu and Yen Nantian had to retreat when they saw him. Damn it. Could it be that this guy is also a top expert on the ranking list? "Who are you? Could it be that you are Zhao Wuliang?" He screamed crazily. No, Zhao Wuliang was about the same as Yen Nantian. He couldn't go down Yen Nantian. "Could it be that you are Long Zhaotian?" Long Zhaotian was ranked second. If it was really him, then it might make sense. Moreover, it was rumored that Long Zhaotian was also related to the dragon clan. The kid in front of him had a dragon by his side, so he was more and more convinced that the other party was Long Zhaotian. God, he had provoked the other party. Long Zhaotian was ranked second on the ranking list, second only to Di Ling. Thinking of this, Ziyu Hao trembled for a while. "What Long Zhaotian? I am Lin Wudi." Lin Xian snorted coldly, his eyes bursting with a biting cold light. "Not Long Zhaotian?" Ziyu Hao was stunned. Why was the name Lin Wudi so unfamiliar? No, he seemed to have heard of it. Where had he heard of it? Ziyu Hao's brain was working very fast. Suddenly, his body trembled, and he almost knelt on the ground. It was his Lin Wudi. Recently, on the ancient Starry Sky Road, a piece of news swept like a storm. There was a new change in the Abyss ranking list. A newcomer had climbed to the top, ranked first, and tied with Di Ling. He remembered that person's name. It seemed to be Lin Wudi. Ziyu Hao's entire body was drenched in cold sweat. He had provoked the Abyss ranking first, and he was still arrogant in front of the other party. He wished he could slap himself to death. So it was Lin Gongzi. I had eyes but failed to recognize Mao Tai. I offended Lin Gongzi. I hope Lin Gongzi can forgive me. How about this? I don't want the octatic treasure snake anymore. When I fought with Lin Gongzi before, I will also take out a certain amount of heaven and earth treasures as compensation. Lin Gongzi, please spare my life. Ziyu Hao hurriedly begged for mercy. He had no choice but to lower his head. Otherwise, with the other party's strength, it would be very easy to kill him. When the octatic treasure snake sensed this scene, it was extremely shocked. Its huge eyes flickered with a trace of shock. What was going on? One of the humans was begging for mercy. This was impossible. He sensed that the purple-clothed youth who came later was very terrifying and had a monstrous aura. But now, such a person was actually begging for mercy. Could it be that this red-clothed youth was even more terrifying? Thinking of this, his face became incomparably gloomy. Damn it, when did such a terrifying existence come to their elf forest? Could it be that he was here specifically for it? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He didn't say anything, but in the next moment, his expression changed. Sword energy soared into the sky and instantly enveloped him. At the same time, he said, "Ruzalong, retreat quickly." Just as he finished speaking, the sky collapsed. Green light streaked across, and countless ghost faces charged towards them. The Crimson Dragon was reminded and instantly roared, its dragon blood surging. The lightning around him formed a lightning tribulation that instantly enveloped him. Chapter 3251. Lightning was the bane of evil beings. It should be able to block the ghost face. Sure enough, when the green ghost face landed on Lin Xian's sword energy and the Crimson Dragon's lightning, it emitted a sizzling sound. It was mercilessly destroyed and pierced through. On the other side, the octatic treasure snake also spat out a terrifying poison to resist. Ziyu Hao also tried to block, but he was still a step too slow. Among the 4 people present, he was the weakest. In an instant, he was enveloped by the ghost face. In an instant, the green face entered his body. Zi Yuhao struggled, his expression becoming ferocious. The light in his eyes disappeared, replaced by a wisp of green light. Zi Yuhao was controlled, becoming a puppet. Damn it, it's you! The octatic treasure snake screamed crazily, its voice piercing through the clouds. It was that thing again. Lin Xian had seen it before. However, at the same time, they were even more shocked. Could it be that the octatic treasure snake knew him? Humph! Seeing this immortal descend, you still don't kneel to pay your respects? A faintly discernible voice was heard from the void. It was Zi Yuhao's voice. At this moment, Zi Yuhao's entire body was surrounded by green light. He was no longer the young prodigy from before. Clearly, he had been possessed by something. Damn it, you still don't want to give up. The octatic treasure snake looked as if it was facing a great enemy. Its body was surrounded by laws. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon frowned. The Crimson Dragon even snorted coldly. What immortal? In this world, there was no such thing as an immortal. That was indeed the case. Even great emperors could not become immortals, so how could there be a true immortal? It was only a legend and a wish of people. Ignorant ant, how could you know of this immortal's existence? The mutated Zi Yuhao snorted coldly. Green light appeared in his eyes. It streaked across the Crimson Dragon's body and then stared at the octatic treasure snake. What do you think of what I said? The octatic treasure snake's expression was gloomy. Humph, you dare to threaten me with just a clone? You want me to be your clone? No way. It seems that you really don't know life from death. If it wasn't for the Eye of Time maturing, do you think you would be alive now? What was the Eye of Time? Lin Xian was puzzled. The Crimson Dragon's pupils shrank. Could it be that the legend was true? He stared at the octatic treasure snake, his face full of shock. The octatic treasure snake's expression was gloomy and cold. If it was your true body that came, then maybe you could succeed. But a mere clone, do you think you can do anything to me? Don't even think about getting my Eye of Time in this lifetime. As for your main body, you probably won't be able to come out for the rest of your life. What immortal! He was just a body of energy trapped by someone else. What was going on? Lin Xian asked with a frown. Even a half-saint would be injured if his body was continuously broken. Wouldn't his vitality be greatly damaged? How could the other party be unscathed? Ha ha ha, I've said it before. I'm an immortal existence. The mutated Zi Yuhao didn't attack at all. He floated there, allowing Lin Xian to attack him. Every time he was broken, his body would reassemble. This scene made people despair. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. An immortal existence? How could this be? How could there be an immortal in this world? Even a great emperor couldn't survive the passage of time. However, the other party's current appearance was indeed surprising. Could it be that he had an immortal bloodline? He knew that there were many miraculous physiques in the universe. For example, he and the sage physique were the type with strong physiques and powerful strength. There was also the Tao physique, which was born with the Tao and could use the law to great effect. There was also the spirit physique, which could increase one's cultivation in an instant. Of course, there was also an immortal body. That was the other party's recovery ability was amazing. No matter how serious the injury, it could be healed instantly. Lin Xian guessed that the other party might have such a physique. Of course, there was another possibility, which was that the other party's recovery ability was super strong. It wasn't because of the bloodline, but because of the law. For example, the Northern Demon previously had the law of wood. His recovery ability was very shocking and terrifying. Now, he also had the law of wood fragment. Coupled with the longevity art, his recovery ability was also super strong. Lin Xian guessed countless possibilities in his heart. Although he didn't know which one it was, it all showed that the other party wasn't an immortal. Since he knew this, he was fearless. Was the other party's recovery ability strong? Then he would beat the other party until he couldn't recover. A cold look appeared in his eyes. The great dragon sword soul in his body instantly roared and circulated. If it were other half-saints, they might be helpless. However, he was different. Chapter 3252. He had the great dragon sword soul. Buzz. Lin Xian once again formed the sword of law and poured the power of the great dragon sword soul into it. On the opposite side, the mutated Ziyuhao sneered when he saw that Lin Xian wanted to attack again. It's useless. Even if you do it 1,000 times or even 10,000 times, you won't be able to hurt me. His actions towards Lin Xian were filled with disdain. He was disdainful. However, in the next moment, his face changed. He discovered that this time around, his shattered body was actually unable to heal. Between his body and his body, there were small cracks that separated Yi's body from the rest of his body. How could this be? It couldn't heal? The mutated Ziyuhao was stunned. A green light burst out from his eyes as he stared at his body. At the same time, the green light on his body bloomed and completely enveloped him. Whoosh! Finally, he forcefully suppressed the cracks and his body healed again. However, his face had become a little ugly. In the next moment, he screamed. He saw the other party slashing his sword, and his body was broken again. Each piece carried a terrifying sword intent, causing him to be unable to heal for a while. Damn it, this is impossible. Who are you? What kind of sword chi is this? Why is it so strange? The mutated Ziyuhao screamed crazily. He realized that it was very difficult to heal his body again. He had to erase the sword chi on the cracks. The sword chi was very strange and difficult to erase. Therefore, when he healed for the second time, his face had become pale, and the green light on his body had dimmed a lot. You're just SOO. What immortal? In my opinion, you're just a little stronger in terms of life force recovery. Other than that, there's nothing special. Lin Xian looked at the scene and sneered. Previously, his sword chi contained the power of the great dragon sword soul. That was why it was difficult for the other party's body to heal. If it was a real immortal, this bit of power wouldn't be able to do anything to him. However, it was obvious that it was very difficult for the other party to heal. This meant that the other party wasn't an immortal at all. Perhaps he wasn't even a saint. The other party was at most a half-saint with a strong life force. Other than that, there shouldn't be anything special. If it was another half-saint facing the other party, they might not be able to do anything. However, Lin Xian was indeed the other party's nemesis. Damned brat! The mutated Ziyuhao's face was ashen. As for the octatic treasure snake, it was extremely shocked. How could this be? He found it hard to believe that the other party was able to restrain the monster. One must know that when he faced that monster, he was only able to suppress it with his overwhelming power. Even so, he was only able to suppress its clone. At the same time, the mass of green energy above him suddenly exploded. Everything within a radius of 10 million miles was completely enveloped. Not good. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. The crimson dragon also let out a sharp cry. This was already equivalent to a half-saint self-destructing. Moreover, it had absorbed enough energy to self-destruct. The power was too terrifying. The sword of light in Lin Xian's hand instantly transformed into the shape of a dragon. He roared, "Ruzalong, hurry up and help me pour energy into it." The crimson dragon poured all its energy into Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian let out a long roar. He poured all his energy into the great dragon sword soul. Then he slashed it forward. Boom! Everything within a radius of 10 million miles was completely destroyed. Countless forests collapsed, and the void shattered. It was a scene of apocalypse. Lin Xian and the others were crazily swallowed by this energy. After a very long time, the terrifying energy gradually faded, and disappeared. In the void, two figures fell, and they spat out two mouthfuls of blood. Damn, this energy was too terrifying. Why did it feel like a saint self-destructing? The Crimson Dragon's body was charred black. Dragon blood dripped down, and it grimaced in pain. Many cracks also appeared on Lin Xian's body. He circulated the law of wood and the longevity secret art. At the same time, he swallowed heavenly treasures. The cracks on his body were quickly healing. With the strength of the 9 Yang divine body, he survived. At the same time, his eyes were filled with a hint of seriousness. It was too terrifying. Fortunately, he used the great dragon sword soul to split open the most important energy. Otherwise, that massive energy would have definitely been a threat to him. No half-saint would have been able to survive. Damn, what the hell was that? The other party's clone was already so powerful. Why was the other party's life so strong? Lin Xian frowned. Chapter 3253. The Crimson Dragon looked around. Endless primal chaos had appeared around them, and the cold pool had long disappeared. The octatic treasure snake couldn't have been blasted into a bloody mist, right? Could it be that there was no residue left? The Crimson Dragon was stunned. Then he cursed loudly. Damn it, that was Ben Huang's favorite prey. Forget it. There are many treasures in this elven forest. At most, we'll look for other natural treasures. Lin Xian originally wanted to comfort the Crimson Dragon, but he still glanced around. Suddenly, he was slightly stunned. In the next moment, he activated his heavenly secret divine eyes and stared below. There was originally a terrifying 10,000-year-old cold pool there. However, at this moment, the cold pool had long been reduced to ashes by that energy. In the endless pit, there was a huge monster. It was the octatic treasure snake. At this moment, the octatic treasure snake was torn into pieces. Blood and internal organs flowed all over the ground. It couldn't be any more dead. Even its soul had been destroyed by this energy. This shocked Lin Xian again. It seemed that it was really dangerous. Those below the saint realm probably couldn't survive at all. In fact, even saints would be injured in this energy. Fortunately, he had the great dragon sword soul to cut through everything. But soon, Lin Xian was stunned again. What was this? He saw a shocking scene. Buzz, with a wave of his hand, an endless storm rushed out and wiped out the primal chaos below. Then, the octatic treasure snake's corpse was revealed. The Crimson Dragon also saw it. He cried out in surprise. Great, he finally found it. He wanted to put away the octatic treasure snake's corpse, but in the next moment, he was also stunned. His eyes were wide, open in disbelief. Below, the octatic treasure snake's corpse was torn into pieces. On the corpse, there was a scarlet eye that slowly rotated. Inside, extremely terrifying patterns appeared. It was incomparably mysterious. With Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon's current understanding, they couldn't see it clearly at all. However, although they couldn't understand the patterns, they saw a shocking scene. The octatic treasure snake's originally shattered body quickly reassembled. In the next moment, his body trembled, and a cold light erupted from his eyes. The aura on his body suddenly erupted. What's going on? He's alive? How could this be? Didn't he die before? That's not right. Lin Xian could clearly sense that the other party's soul had already been destroyed. One had to know that if one's physical body was destroyed, one could still be reborn with a drop of blood. If one's soul was injured, one could also use a remnant soul to recover. However, if one's soul was completely destroyed, one would be dead beyond words. In such a situation, even a saint would not be able to revive. But why would this octatic treasure snake come back to life? Could it be related to the red eyes? He stared at the 8 eyes on the octatic treasure snake's back. One of the eyes slowly closed. It was the eye with the mysterious runes flowing around it earlier. It was already completely closed. Now, only the 7 eyes were shining. It was still scarlet red like a ruby. What was going on? The Crimson Dragon looked as if he had seen a ghost. Damn it. Could it be that the legend was true? Impossible. Could there really be such a magical ability? Rosalong, what do you know? Lin Xian asked from the side. He felt that the Crimson Dragon should know something about the situation. The Crimson Dragon took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "The Eye of Time." The Eye of Time, what was that? Lin Xian was curious. It wasn't the first time he heard about it. The green monster from before seemed to have its eyes on the Eye of Time. Could it be? Was it the 8 eyes on the Octadic treasure snake's back? The Octadic treasure snake was an ancient beast. It was rumored that the 8 eyes on its back possessed the mysterious power of time. The power of time. Lin Xian was extremely shocked. Time was the most mysterious thing. Ordinary people couldn't grasp it at all. Even great emperors might not be able to grasp this power. However, the Octadic treasure snake actually had such strange eyes. Could it grasp this power? Time was indeed the most mysterious thing. As an ancient beast, the Octadic treasure snake's 8 eyes were known as the Eye of Time. They could make time flow back to the past. However, each of these 8 eyes could only be used once, just like before, although the Octadic treasure snake was already dead. It used the Eye of Time to reverse the time on its body, returning to the time when it was still alive. In this way, it was equivalent to being reborn once. As for the eye on its back, once this power was used, it would be permanently healed and could no longer be opened. It could still live after dying. This was equivalent to having an extra life. Lin Xian was extremely surprised. The Octadic treasure snake had 8 eyes on its back. This was equivalent to having 8 more lives. This was too perverted, wasn't it? This was simply an undying existence. That's right, it was indeed equivalent to having 8 lives. However, this power also attracted the attention of powerhouses. Countless years ago, the Octadic treasure snake was hunted down by a peerless powerhouse and was finally destroyed. In the myriad worlds, there was no longer an Octadic treasure snake. He didn't expect to be able to see one here. It seemed that his luck was really good to the extreme to be able to encounter the Octadic treasure snake. Could it be that you were eyeing the Eye of Time previously? Was that Ziyuhao the same as before? Lin Xian asked. The Crimson Dragon shook its head. No, I was eyeing the Octadic treasure snake because of its bloodline. I think that Ziyuhao was the same. The Eye of Time was too strange. It only existed in legends. In ancient times, the Octadic treasure snake had already disappeared, so no one thought that the things that were passed down were true. Just like immortals, they were just legends. Therefore, no one would specially look for the Octadic treasure snake for the Eye of Time, right? If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe that the other party really has the Eye of Time and can control the power of time. Humph! It seems that you know quite a lot. Right at this moment, the Octadic treasure snake below completely recovered. He raised his huge head and snorted coldly. His cold eyes stared at the Crimson Dragon and Lin Xian. Since you know that I have the Eye of Time, then hurry up and get lost. It's impossible for you to kill me. Indeed, the other party still had 7 eyes of time, which was equivalent to having 7 lives. He was indeed an existence that was almost immortal. Boy, do you want to make a move? The Crimson Dragon asked. Lin Xian's eyes erupted with a piercing light. He was definitely going to make a move. Obtaining the Eye of Time was equivalent to obtaining 7 more lives. This was definitely a huge temptation. Not to mention him, those saints would probably go crazy. Even the great emperors would definitely disregard everything and come to kill the Octadic treasure snake. Damn it! When the Octadic treasure snake heard this, he was instantly enraged. He opened his mouth and spat out poisonous gas that filled the sky. His entire body turned into a ray of light and instantly tore through the void, heading into the distance. Damn it, don't think about running. The crimson dragon struck out lightning that filled the sky, shattering the poisonous gas. At the same time, he bared his fangs and brandished his claws as he flew out. Lin Xian also soared into the sky and turned into a ray of sword light. Chapter 3254. He transmitted his voice. Rizalong, don't kill him. You have to capture him alive. Otherwise, if he uses up the Eye of Time, it would be useless for us to capture him. I know, but Brat, what do you want to do? Even if we trap him, if he goes crazy and destroys the Eye of Time, we won't be able to obtain it. I naturally know that. Not only do we have to capture him alive, we can't let him resist at all. Because once he resists, he will be able to activate the Eye of Time. Of course, we can't let him die, because if that happens, the Eye of Time will be activated. Are you saying that if we don't kill him, we will let his soul live without consciousness? The Crimson Dragon exclaimed. Could it be that you want to use eye techniques? That's right. Lin Xian nodded. He took a deep breath. Little White, I will depend on you later. Yeah, no problem. Just watch me. Little White nodded, looking very confident. Lin Xian and the others increased their speed. The Crimson Dragon directly controlled the laws of clouds and wind, mobilizing the space within millions of miles. It formed a cage around them, blocking their path. The octatic treasure snake went crazy, attacking recklessly. However, it was still blocked for a moment. During this time, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon caught up. Little White, go. Before the octatic treasure snake could react, Little White transformed into a streak of light and instantly disappeared. When it appeared again, it was already in front of the octatic treasure snake. Its furry claws slapped the octatic treasure snake's huge head. BZZ, the octatic treasure snake fainted. It only lasted for 3 seconds. However, this time was enough for Lin Xian. He could activate his eye technique thousands of times. His palms formed seals as the heavenly secret divine eye activated. A pair of golden eyes appeared above his head. They were incomparably cold, like a god. The snow-white little monkey's dizziness caused the octatic treasure snake to be unable to resist. The heavenly secret divine eye was mysterious and strange. Under Lin Xian's full power, the octatic treasure snake was unable to block that eye technique. Hence, the octatic treasure snake directly entered an illusion. Lin Xian didn't directly plan a slave imprint because he was afraid that the octatic treasure snake would resist and cause an uncontrollable situation to occur. He let the octatic treasure snake be in the illusion and then slowly guided it, so that he would automatically treat Lin Xian as his master. This process was very slow, but Lin Xian didn't care. Anyway, the other party was in an illusion, and the time inside was not the same as outside. Lin Xian could adjust the environment at will. Next, he let the Crimson Dragon create several formations to completely envelop the opponent. Then they were sent into the Black Earth. Now that time was tight, Lin Xian had no way to set it up. Once things settled down, he could set up an illusion array and place the octatic treasure snake inside. Or, periodically, he would use his eye technique on the octatic treasure snake. In short, as long as the octatic treasure snake continued to sleep like this, Lin Xian released the octatic treasure snake for the time being and took a deep breath. Kid, where are we going next? The Crimson Dragon asked. To find the mysterious green monster. Are you going to find that guy? No way. It's too risky. Are we going to find the Wooddow stone? That's right. It was in the hands of that guy. Previously, when Lin Xian used his eye technique on the octatic treasure snake, he had discovered some information from the other party's soul. Among them, it was related to the mysterious green monster. After all, that monster was too terrifying. Even the octatic treasure snake was afraid of it. Therefore, the information about the green monster in the other party's soul was very obvious. Lin Xian instantly captured it. He learned from the information that the green monster had a wood dao stone in its hands. In addition, the other party's origin was mysterious. That was why it had such a vigorous life force and was almost immortal. Since he knew that the wood dao stone was in the other party's hands, Lin Xian had no reason not to go. Moreover, although the other party was powerful, his great dragon sword soul could restrain the other party. Therefore, Lin Xian wasn't afraid of the other party at all. The wood dao stone was actually in the other party's hands. When the Crimson Dragon heard this, it was also extremely surprised. Since that was the case, what were they waiting for? Let's hurry up and go. Lin Xian and the others quickly flew deeper into the forest. 3 days later, the three of them stopped. Lin Xian frowned. His heavenly secret god eyes looked around. It was right in front of him. Lin Xian said. The Crimson Dragon held its breath, and Whitey also quieted down for a rare moment. Who was it? Lin Xian and the others had already arrived in front of them. They let out a low and hoarse voice. Instantly, countless terrifying rays of light appeared around them. The surrounding trees seemed to come to life and attacked Lin Xian and the others. With a boom, the Crimson Dragon's body swayed. Endless lightning pierced through all the tree demons, forming a vacuum. The ground was scorched black. Lin Xian walked forward. There was no forest blocking the way ahead. There was a ball of green light floating in the air, constantly changing into various forms. Damn it, it's you. You're not dead. In front of them, the ball of green light let out a sharp roar. It was too shocking. Impossible. The self-destruction of his clone was enough to destroy any half-saint below the saint realm. How could the other party survive? It seemed that you didn't know everything. There were some things that you couldn't know at all. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The other party didn't even know why he was still alive. It must be something. He ignored the other party and looked around. Because of the conversation between the octatic treasure snake and the other party, he knew that the other party's main body seemed to be unable to come out and could only be in the depths. He had to find out why now. Soon he narrowed his eyes because he seemed to have seen through it. The Crimson Dragon also said that there was a peerless formation around them that suppressed everything. It was probably specially targeted at the other party. We can come in, but I'm afraid the other party can't get out at all. Lin Xian nodded, then raised his head and looked ahead at the green ball of light that was still screaming in shock. Hand over the Dao stone of wood that you're in, and I can spare your life. What? You're here for the Dao stone of wood? The green ball of light was stunned for a moment. Then it screamed. Damn brat. You actually dare to have designs on me? How despicable. The green light kept changing and then turned into a green-robed man. The green-robed man's face was pale, and his eyes were cold. They were like the eyes of a venomous snake as he stared at Lin Xian. After he appeared, he gave off a powerful aura. Go to hell. The palm emitted a terrifying aura and instantly arrived in front of Lin Xian, wanting to suppress him. Lin Xian sneered. Sword chi surged from his body and poured into the power of the great dragon sword soul. He slashed out and immediately split the other party's palm. It's useless. I can restrain you. Your attack can't pose any threat to me at all. It's not even difficult for me to kill you. Lin Xian's voice caused the green-robed man's expression to turn incomparably cold. Brat, do you think I'm so easy to kill? You don't understand my methods at all. Ignorant ant. Next, I'll let you know the consequences of provoking me. With a flip of his hand, he took out a green bell and poured his power into it. Chapter 3255. Buzz. The green bell began to ring, and a terrifying sound spread in all directions. The Crimson Dragon's body trembled, and countless cracks appeared on its body. Even Lin Xian's body was the same. Cracks had appeared. But soon Lin Xian roared, and an endless light erupted from his body, repairing it. The Crimson Dragon screamed, "Damn it, it's so terrifying. How can the two of you be a match for me?" The green-robed man laughed. He would attack the bell in his hand. Suddenly, a terrifying shattering sound came from the void, where Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were. "Damn it, what kind of weapon is this? Why does it feel like a sacred weapon?" The Crimson Dragon was frightened, and it struck out a sky full of nomological laws to contend with it. Lin Xian's face was gloomy, and a biting cold light erupted from his eyes, enveloping the entire space. Under his eye technique, he could clearly see the traces of every attack. In the face of such a terrifying attack, he did not dodge. In his body, the great dragon sword soul roared, and countless sword chi rushed out, accompanied by the power of nomological laws slashing forward. Green Lotus 13 swords. 13 sword chi crisscrossed the sky, and terrifying nomological law fragments spread out. A huge flower of sword chi shrouded the entire space, cutting off the void. There was a violent collision in the space, and the green bell's attack all collided with the sword chi lotus. The sword chi lotus also erupted with dazzling sword chi, and the two collided in the air, erupting with an unparalleled light. Buzz. At the same time, the Crimson Dragon came to the side of the green-robed man, and with a wave of its dragon claws, countless thunderbolts condensed, and a claw penetrated the green-robed man's body. Boom! More than half of the green-robed man's body was shattered, but in an instant, it recovered to its original state. At the same time, he struck out with his palm, forcing the Crimson Dragon to retreat. "It's useless. I've said it before, I'm immortal, and you can't hurt me at all." The green-robed man's eyes were full of disdain. "Damn it, what a strong recovery ability." The Crimson Dragon's face darkened. At this time, Lin Xian said, "Ruzalong, let me attack. You hold him back." "Good." Ben Huang knew. The Crimson Dragon nodded. He knew that Lin Xian's great dragon sword spirit could restrain his opponent. The Crimson Dragon continued to roll, and the clouds in the sky condensed, bringing with them a terrifying law. They surged forward, and even formed a formation around them. It was a wind-thunder array. This formation was mainly used to restrain the enemy. The green-robed man sensed that his surroundings were filled with fog. A formation had enveloped him, cutting off all his escape routes. In fact, the terrifying lightning seemed to want to tear him to pieces. Formations, I hate formations the most. The green-robed man's face was cold, and a terrifying green light rose from his body. It turned into a large green palm and grabbed forward. This palm was very terrifying. With a crushing force, it blasted onto the wind and thunder array. Buzz. The array shook violently, and cracks appeared on it. Damn it, this guy's strength is so terrifying, and his research on array formations is so profound. The Crimson Dragon frowned. He could see that the opponent's palm was not casually thrown out, but directly hit the weak point of his formation. It seemed that the opponent had found the flaw in an instant. This was a formation expert. The Crimson Dragon was shocked, but he soon understood. This green bubble man must have been studying formations for thousands of years in order to escape. His attainments in formations must be very strong. He guessed right. This green-robed man was trapped here by a peerless formation and wanted to escape for his entire life. Therefore, he had been studying and breaking this formation for countless years. His attainments in formations were terrifying. At this moment, he almost broke the Crimson Dragon's wind and thunder array. However, the wind and thunder array was not the main attack. His goal was to restrain and even confuse his opponent. Buzz. In a corner of the array, a figure rushed over, and a terrifying sword light pierced forward. This person was Lin Xian. At this moment, the sword chi in Lin Xian's hand was revolving, swallowing a terrifying power. In an instant, he was in front of the green-robed man. "Get lost!" The green-robed man shouted coldly. He did not directly resist, but activated the green bell beside him and blasted it forward. It seemed that he wanted to blast Lin Xian away. Boom! The two collided, and a piercing light burst out. The green bell blocked the sword. "Kid, it's useless. You can't hurt me at all." Seeing this, the green-robed man's mouth curled into a sneer. So, what if his opponent was powerful? He used a treasure. He did not need to do anything to stop his opponent. Is that so? Do you think you're saved? The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a cold smile. Although his opponent had blocked his sword attack, the distance between them was too close. Could his opponent block all of his sword chi? Boom! The energy in his body burst out, forming a monstrous force that enveloped the area in front of him. The bell was also shaking nonstop, shooting out rays of light that filled the sky in an attempt to block the attack. Although the bell was powerful, Lin Xian's sword chi was even more terrifying. Its attack power was unparalleled. Therefore, although a small part of the sword chi was blocked, there was still a lot of sword chi that pierced through the bell's attack and arrived in front of the green-robed man. The green-robed man was shocked, and his expression turned to one of horror. Cold wind! His sleeves rolled up countless green rays of light, forming a light screen in front of him. However, his light screen was soon pierced through. Not good. The green-robed man's pupils constricted, and his body swayed, turning into an illusion. Lin Xian's sword chi was too much. Although he dodged some, he could not dodge all of them. At this critical moment, the green-robed man could only defend himself again. Boom! He was hit by the countless sword chi and was sent flying. That's great. The Crimson Dragon smiled. The green-robed man was sent flying, but soon he landed on the ground and was bounced back. The surrounding array formation isolated him, making it impossible for him to get out. The green-robed man who was bounced back had his blood boiling, and his expression was ugly. He was actually sent flying by the other party. Damn it! How dare you injure this immortal? This immortal will kill you. The green-robed man walked over, gritting his teeth, and his murderous aura was astonishing. At this moment, the surrounding void quickly shattered. It was obvious that the other party was really angry. Humph! Lin Xian attacked again. In the sky, 36,000 rays of sword chi quickly rushed into the sky, forming a huge sword chi lotus that rotated above Lin Xian's head. Countless light swords flew out from it, piercing through the void, carrying a kind of nomological power. Countless nomological light swords pierced forward, forming a sword domain that once again enveloped the other party. These light swords were too terrifying. They contained the power of the great dragon sword soul and the power of nomological fragments. They contained the nomological laws of metal and were extremely sharp. They contained the nomological laws of fire and were extremely violent. The nomological laws of earth were heavy and seemed to be able to shatter everything. The nomological laws of water were extremely strange and pervasive. These light swords once again attacked the green-robed man. Chapter 3256. The green-robed man had just returned and was furious. He didn't expect the other party to attack again. This made his lungs about to explode. "You're courting death." With a furious roar, he counterattacked crazily. Puff, puff. However, the green-robed man's body was pierced again. The cracks on his body made it impossible for him to heal in a short period of time. Damn it, what's going on? How is this possible? The green-robed man screamed crazily. He had never encountered such a thing. Although his main body couldn't go out, his clone could dominate the entire elf forest. No one had ever been his match. Even the octatic treasure snake didn't dare to fight against him. But now, the scene in front of him really shocked him. He couldn't believe it. What kind of sword chi was that? Damn it, I don't believe it. The green-robed man roared crazily. He activated the green bell, and a terrifying aura rushed out like a long river. The entire void was torn into pieces like a piece of paper. Buzz. Lin Xian waved his sword chi and resisted it. His sword chi was extremely terrifying, and every move carried the aura of a dragon. This was a shocking battle. In an instant, the two of them exchanged hundreds of moves, and the green-robed man was injured every time. However, the green-robed man's recovery ability was too strong. After being injured so many times, he didn't weaken at all. Instead, he became stronger and stronger. Boom, boom. Not good, kid, be careful. He seems to be plotting something. Suddenly, the crimson dragon screamed, and his expression became incomparably solemn. Lin Xian frowned and looked in all directions. The green-robed man laughed loudly. Ha ha, you know it too late. Now, the array formation has been broken. Soon, I'll escape. At that time, let's see how you'll die. It turned out that the battle between Lin Xian and the green-robed man affected a wide range, and the power was too strong. The array formation here was specially used to seal the green-robed man, so the green-robed man's attacks were helpless. However, Lin Xian was different. Lin Xian was an outsider. His sword chi was blasted in all directions, finally causing cracks to appear on the array formation. It was about to shatter. At this moment, the green-robed man absorbed all the sword chi and swept it in all directions. Suddenly, a crack appeared in the formation, and a huge crack appeared. The formations in the surroundings shattered one after another. It was as if the shackles binding the entire space had been broken. The green-robed man let out a long howl. His aura soared into the sky, covering a radius of millions of miles. He stood in the void like a fiend god and roared at the sky. Free! I'm finally free! Brat, I have to thank you for this. He was simply too happy. The crimson dragon's face darkened. What should I do? Don't worry, Lin Xian said coldly. He didn't expect this formation to do anything, even if the other party escaped. So what? Killing him was as easy as flipping his hand. Lin Xian soared into the sky. The aura in his body burst forth, transforming into a terrifying dragon roar, enveloping his entire body. Damn brat, you dare to attack me? The green-robed man lowered his head and looked down with a ferocious smile. Previously, due to the formation, I couldn't use my full strength at all. Now, I'll let you see my true strength. He formed a seal with his palms. Suddenly, the green bell below expanded like a green mountain. It shook gently, and the void of millions of people was completely shattered by the sound waves. Go to hell! A dragon-shaped sword appeared in Lin Xian's hand, erupting with a sharp light. A dragon roar resounded through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The sword slashed out and landed on the huge bell. With a bang, the bell was sent flying, and countless cracks appeared on it. Damn it! How was this possible? The green-robed man's voice stopped, as if someone was grabbing his neck. His eyes widened, as if he had seen a ghost. It cracked. His Dharma treasure actually cracked. This was simply too unbelievable. One had to know that his Dharma treasure was very close to a sacred artifact. However, at this moment, it was cracked by the other party's sword. What kind of sword chi was that? In the next moment, he lowered his head and saw the light sword flickering with a dragon-shaped aura. His entire body trembled. Damn it! What is that thing? Why do I feel so scared and alarmed? The green-robed man was stunned. Oh no! He turned around and wanted to leave. However, how could Lin Xian give him the chance? He slashed out with his sword and rushed into the sea of clouds. the terrifying sword Chi drowned the entire world with a pft. The sword pierced through the green-robed man's body. Do you think that I can't do anything to you without the formation? Lin Xian's voice was cold, and the sword Chi on his body was monstrous. He was like a god of death, releasing a biting cold sword intent. Impossible! Damn it! How could you make my body unable to heal? The green-robed man's body began to tremble. This time, he could barely maintain his shape. The large cracks on his broken body could not be removed at all. Damn it, I don't believe it. Fuse. The green-robed man roared and quickly fused. In the next moment, he temporarily suppressed the cracks on his body and charged over. His entire body turned into a green bolt of lightning and rushed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian scoffed coldly, not knowing what was good for him. Boom. The dragon-shaped sword Chi slashed out, and his body bloomed with light like a sword god. This sword directly split the green-robed man into pieces again, and the green bell in his body was also shaken out. This time, the cracks on it were even larger. Then, with a boom, it shattered into pieces. The green-robed man also vomited blood and was sent flying. His body scattered all over the ground. Impossible. Damn it, this is impossible. His broken body screamed crazily on the ground. His head was extremely ferocious, as if he had gone mad. He really could not believe that the other party was so powerful. More importantly, his body could not heal. One had to know that he had seen attacks that were stronger than the other party. Those attacks could instantly turn him into a bloody mist, but he could quickly recover. Now that he was seriously injured and could not recover, that was what terrified him the most. The immortal body that he was so proud of could not be used. What immortal body? It's nothing in front of me. Lin Xian snorted coldly and charged in front of him. He waved thousands of sword Chi and pierced the body again. In the end, the other party was turned into a bloody mist, and in the bloody mist, a green stone appeared in the void. A terrifying aura flowed on it, bringing with it a powerful vitality. A Dao stone, and it was a wood Dao stone. Su Chen's eyes burst with a piercing cold light. He reached out his golden hand and directly grabbed the wood Dao stone in his hand. Then he grabbed it forcefully and pulled it in front of him. I got it! Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. This trick could be considered complete. In the distance, the Crimson Dragon also heaved a sigh of relief when he saw this scene. Ah, damn it, how dare you steal my Dao stone? Give it back. In front of him, in the bloody mist that filled the sky, a crazy roar came. Chapter 3257. Accompanied by a furious roar, the blood mist quickly condensed into a ball of green light. Then it turned into the figure of the green-robed man. This time, there were no more cracks on the other party's body. It seemed that the other party had used some secret technique to forcefully heal himself. However, the other party's aura was weaker than before. Kid, do you think my recovery ability is strong because I have the Dao Stone? You're too naive. Even without the Dao Stone, I'm still incomparably strong. Moreover, without the Dao Stone, my attack power is stronger than before. I'm still immortal. The green-robed man roared crazily. The aura on his body suddenly skyrocketed. Lin Xian coldly snorted. With a wave of his hand, the dragon-shaped sword shadow shot out. It turned into a giant dragon and circled in the sky. Suppress! With a cold shout, the giant dragon charged towards the green-robed man. The green-robed man's body trembled. He felt that he was being suppressed and could not use any strength at all. The body that had just condensed was pierced by thousands of sword Chi and nailed to the ground. Great Dragon Sword Spirit! Damn it, could it be the Great Dragon Sword? He screamed crazily. When he saw the dragon-shaped sword shadow, he remembered a legend. There was a sword in the world that had a strong attack power that could destroy everything. That sword was called the Great Dragon Sword. However, the Great Dragon Sword had disappeared for tens of thousands of years. But now it had reappeared? Thinking of this, the green-robed man instantly understood. No wonder the other party was so strong. No wonder the other party could injure him. It was because of the Great Dragon Sword. Damn it, you're actually the descendant of the Great Dragon. He was terrified. Let me go. If the two of us work together, we can definitely sweep the entire star field. Your attack is strong, and my recovery is unparalleled. If the two of us work together, we're definitely the strongest, the green-robed man said. Lin Xian did not say anything. The Crimson Dragon walked up and sneered. You want to work with us? You overestimate yourself. He smashed the other party's head with his dragon claw. With a bang, the other party's head was smashed into pieces. However, it soon began to slowly merge back together. It was covered with cracks. Damn it, you can't kill me. I'm an immortal existence. It can actually heal. The Crimson Dragon was very surprised. *CKU. He began to swing his dragon claws, striking out 40,000 times in an instant, hitting his opponent directly. His body shattered, and he turned into a bloody mist. He had received 40,000 strong attacks. But gradually the wounds healed, and there were more and more cracks on his body. There were small cracks on it. It was extremely frightening. Damn snake, don't let me find a chance. Otherwise I will tear you into pieces. A sharp voice could be heard. Lin Xian coldly snorted. Cut the crap, I'll send you on your way now. A piercing light burst forth from his eyes. The Great Dragon Sword spirit released millions of rays of light that completely enveloped the green-robed man. No, the green-robed man screamed. He might not be afraid of other people's attacks, but he was unable to block the Great Dragon Sword's attack. The other party could really obliterate him. Don't kill me, I'll tell you a secret, a huge secret. Please let me go. The green-robed man screamed. His aura was much weaker than before. Lin Xian waved his hand and stopped. Instead, he asked coldly, Secret? What secret? If I tell you, will you let me go? Humph, you don't have the right to bargain with me now. Tell me first. Lin Xian coldly snorted. The green-robed man gritted his teeth. This elven planet was not ordinary. There was a shocking treasure on it. There was an immortal divine medicine on this planet, something that even great emperors would covet. With it, you can live to your second life and live for tens of thousands of years. Spare me, and I'll bring you to find the immortal divine medicine. How about it? Immortal divine medicine. The Crimson Dragon exclaimed as its eyes lit up. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The immortal divine medicine was indeed magical, but that thing wasn't something he could obtain now. It was something exclusive to great emperors. Once someone obtained it, and the news spread, it would definitely cause the various worlds to chase after them crazily. Moreover, Lin Xian was no longer a youth who didn't know anything. He knew that the immortal divine medicine itself was very powerful. Without extraordinary strength, it was impossible to obtain it, not to mention the two of them. Even if two saints worked together, they might not be able to catch the immortal divine medicine. The immortal divine medicine is indeed very tempting, but unfortunately, it's useless to me. If you can tell me the whereabouts of the other Dao stone, I can consider sparing your life. Lin Xian's main goal now was to obtain the Dao stone. Damn it, you don't want the immortal divine medicine? You want the Dao stone? How would I know what a Dao stone is? Indeed, he had been suppressed for countless years. So how would he know about the outside world? Not to mention the Dao stone. He had obtained this with Dao stone by chance. Since you don't know, there's nothing to talk about. Now, I'll send you on your way. Lin Xian continued to activate the Great Dragon Sword Soul. No, damn it, listen to me. The green-robed man wanted to say something, but in the next moment, his voice was swallowed by the merciless sword light. When everything disappeared, a bottomless space appeared on the ground. The green-robed man's soul had long been destroyed, and not even a drop of blood was left behind. Lin Xian exhaled and recalled the great dragon sword soul back into his body. In the next moment, he revealed a smile. Great. The wood dao stone was in his hands. Now, he already had 2 crystals in his hands. Moreover, he had obtained an unexpected surprise on this trip to the elven planet, which was the Eye of Time. This was definitely a good life-saving item. Let's go. Let's leave. Lin Xian waved his hand and called out to the Crimson Dragon and the Snow-White Monkey. But at this moment, the void shattered and an incomparably black spear instantly streaked across, charging towards Lin Xian. Not good. Lin Xian's pupils constricted as he felt an incomparable sense of danger. In this situation, he couldn't dodge, so he could only resist head-on. The 9 Yang divine body blossomed with light and resisted the black spear. In an instant, the black spear collided with his body, and with a bang, endless demonic chi erupted. Black clouds surged and pitch-black demonic patterns appeared on them, flickering with a demonic light. Damn it, there's actually someone else. The Crimson Dragon's expression also changed, but he wasn't too worried. Lin Xian's 9 Yang divine body was extremely powerful. This bit of attack shouldn't be able to do anything to the other party. But just as he thought about it, he was stunned. His eyes even widened. He couldn't believe it, because the black spear had pierced through Lin Xian's body and sent Lin Xian flying. Damn it, this is impossible. The Crimson Dragon screamed. How was this possible? The 9 Yang divine body was pierced through? This shouldn't be. The 9 Yang divine body was so powerful and had an unparalleled physique. Even a quasi-sacred artifact couldn't penetrate it at all. However, this scene left him extremely shocked. Could it be that this was a sacred artifact? The successor of the 9 Yang divine body was only SOSO. He was like an ant, unable to withstand a single blow. At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Chapter 3258. The void within 1,000,000 miles had completely turned into darkness. Demonic clouds surged like black clouds pressing down on a city, making it difficult for people to breathe. A stalwart, pitch-black man descended from the sky. He floated in the air and looked down with a cold gaze. There was indeed someone. The Crimson Dragon exclaimed. The other party's aura was too powerful, and his demonic aura was monstrous. Who exactly was this person? He thought about it and realized that he had never heard of this person before. Lin Xian is in danger. Little White was also a little anxious. Damn it, who are you? Why did you ambush us? The Crimson Dragon roared, its loud voice resounding through the 9 heavens. There was actually another dragon. The demon-like figure looked at the Crimson Dragon, his eyes shining. You should be his companion, right? Looks like you'll have to go to hell with him. Damn it, do you think you can be arrogant just because you have a sacred artifact? The Crimson Dragon's face was cold. Wait a minute, his expression suddenly froze. Such monstrous demonic clouds, such domineering words, and they were specifically targeting Lin Xian. He had addressed Lin Xian as the successor of the 9 sons when he first came up. Could it be that this is? The Crimson Dragon sucked in a breath of cold air. Could it be that you are the great demon? You actually recognized me. It seems that you have some knowledge. The great demon sneered. Damn it. It really is the great demon. The Crimson Dragon's face turned completely cold. He didn't expect to encounter a great demon here. Could it be that the other party was on this planet? Or was the other party here to kill Lin Xian? One had to know that not only was Lin Xian the successor of the great dragon, but He was also the successor of the 9 sons, and the great demon was the sworn enemy of the 9 sons' lineage. Previously, when Lin Xian obtained the 9 sons' inheritance at Black Demon Cliff, he already knew about this. The previous generation's 9 sons sword saint and the great demon had perished together on Black Demon Cliff. Before this, the 9 Yang lineage and the great demon lineage had been fighting each other. It could be said that they were mortal enemies. Who would have thought that the great demon would actually find Lin Xian again? It seemed that things were going to be troublesome. Every great demon was an extremely terrifying and earth-shattering great demon. Therefore, he couldn't help but worry about Lin Xian. "So you're a great demon." A coughing sound came from afar, followed by a cold voice. The great demon turned his head and forgot that he was still alive. He noticed that Lin Xian had stood up. Lin Xian was pierced through by the black spear from the left side of his body and out from the right. At this moment, Lin Xian stood up, blood flowing from his body. Humph! He reached out with his large golden hand and grabbed the black spear. With a forceful pull, he pulled the spear out. Then he nailed the spear into the ground. Light blossomed from his body as the law of wood and the longevity art rapidly circulated. The 9 Yang divine body instantly recovered. How could it recover so quickly? The great demon was slightly stunned. You can actually erase the demonic aura on it so easily? He was too shocked. Buzz, with a wave of his hand, he summoned the black spear from the ground and held it in his hand. Then the black spear drilled into his hand and disappeared. Using the great spear of destruction against you is a waste of talent. Come, successor of the 9 Yang lineage, let me see how strong you are. The great demon's body fell down. Lin Xian did not say anything else. His eyes flickered, and his body shone brightly. He used the 9 Yang divine body to the extreme. Buzz, as he took a step forward, the void within 1,000,000 miles started to crumble rapidly under the might of his foot. It was too terrifying. At this moment, Lin Xian used the 9 Yang divine body to its full extent, making him look like a golden god of war. He stomped his foot and turned into a beam of light that shot into the sky. Boom! He waved his fist, and it was like a sun that shone in all directions. The dazzling light made it impossible for people to open their eyes. At this moment, even a half-sage would be frightened, and their scalps would go numb. A cold light burst out from the great demon's eyes. What a powerful aura! It seems that you have cultivated the 9 Yang divine body well. I hope you won't disappoint me. He laughed sinisterly and attacked decisively. He sent out dozens of palm shadows in a row. The terrifying palm carried a monstrous demonic aura, and it was like 1,000,000 demonic mountains that fell down. The sky was clearly divided into 2 halves. The space where Lin Xian was filled with light and flames. The space where the great demon was filled with demonic aura and was incomparably dark. Boom, boom, boom. Their attacks collided in the sky, and countless thunderous sounds spread out from the 2 of them to millions of miles away. At this moment, there was no place that was intact. The Crimson Dragon had already retreated. He knew that this was a fated battle, and he could not interfere at all. He could only retreat a few meters away and watch the battle nervously. The snow-white monkey also jumped on his body, and its big black eyes looked forward without blinking. In front of him, Lin Xian and the great demon had turned into 2 streaks of black light clashing nonstop. Every attack was extremely terrifying. In the blink of an eye, the 2 of them quickly separated and once again stood in different places. Although it was only a blink of an eye, the 2 of them had already exchanged close to 100,000 blows. Lin Xian stood in the void, the 9 Yang divine fire burning all over his body, and the law of fire surrounding him. He became incomparably solemn. This was the great demon. It was too powerful. It was so strong that it exceeded his expectations. To be honest, he had never seen an opponent that was so powerful that it could be on par with him. Although it was only a short exchange, he could clearly feel that the other party was very strong, far stronger than the green monster from before. As expected of an old enemy, Lin Xian did not have the slightest carelessness. After all, the previous successor of the 9-yang divine body was killed by the great demon. Not bad, not bad. To actually be able to block my attack, it really surprised me. The great demon's eyes erupted with a piercing cold light, and the demonic aura on his body surged into the sky. With a roar, he charged over like a demon king. The violent demonic aura tore heaven and earth apart. Behind him, the black demonic aura was like a huge black waterfall, descending from the sky and sweeping over. It was densely packed, covering the sky and the earth. The sky was collapsing and the earth was shattering. The great demon just rushed over directly without using any divine abilities, and it was already so terrifying. In my opinion, you're just SOSO. Today, I'll kill you. Lin Xian also let out a long roar. The boundless flames on his body burned fiercely, engulfing half the sky. The law of fire fragment accompanied him, constantly waving. The two of them fought together again. The earth trembled, and the sky collapsed. It had already affected a radius of millions of miles. The crimson dragon had already been pushed further away. His expression was incomparably solemn. They were too powerful. Each of these two people was a peerless powerhouse, a top genius. Any one of them could sweep through an area on the ancient starry sky path. But now, in this forest, the two of them were fighting a life and death battle. Chapter 3259. The Elven Planet was a very special world. The forest here was vast, so there were many spirit herbs and resources. Other than Lin Xian and the others, the other experts also liked to come to this place. At this moment, many cultivators descended from the sky and landed on the Elven Planet on their spirit boats. There were quite a number of these people, and they came from the 8 great families of the 8 worlds. At this moment, they had joined forces and were preparing to explore the Elven Forest. Countless powerhouses and prodigies came out of the spirit boats and flew down quickly. Many of them laughed. There are many spirit herbs here. Last time, I picked a 10,000-year-old spirit herb here. This time, there are so many of us we might have even more gains. A 10,000-year-old spirit herb? When the surrounding prodigies heard this, their eyes burned with passion. Don't worry, we will definitely be able to pick 10,000-year-old spirit herbs this time. Otherwise, we won't be willing to go back. Many people laughed out loud. Of course, some older generation figures said that they had to be careful. The Elven Planet was very primitive and ancient, and there were many unknown creatures and beasts. They couldn't be careless. Don't worry, Elder, we know. The young prodigies nodded, but their eyes were disapproving. They were all prodigies of their families and were extremely dazzling existences in a star world. The weakest among them had comprehended a power that was close to the Tao, and many of them had reached the half-sage realm. A few of them had even participated in the Abyss ranking and had achieved extraordinary results in the ranking. Among them, there were 3 orange-ranked top 10, and there was even 1 purple-ranked. With so many of them together, there was no need for the older generation of the family to come, and they were enough to sweep through everything. But at this moment, a handsome man frowned slightly. I received news that Ziyu Hao seems to have come to the Elven Planet as well. Let's not meet him. As soon as these words came out, many people were moved. Ziyu Hao was ranked 10th in the Abyss rankings. His strength was extremely terrifying, and they didn't dare to fight him head-on. However, a beautiful girl laughed. Don't worry, with senior brother in around, that Ziyu Hao isn't that scary. That's true. They looked at the figure in front of them and immediately felt at ease. And Xiongfei was ranked 11th on the Abyss rankings. Although he was ranked behind Ziyu Hao, the two of them were only one rank apart. Moreover, and Xiongfei's strength had advanced by leaps and bounds recently, it could be said that he was full of ambition. Among their 8 great families, it was already spread that Xiongfei absolutely had the strength to defeat Ziyu Hao. In fact, if he participated in the Abyss ranking this time, he would definitely be able to increase his ranking by more than 2 places. Therefore, with Xiongfei around, even if they encountered Ziyu Hao, they were not afraid. Furthermore, apart from Xiongfei, they still had many geniuses and senior cultivators on their side. No matter how powerful Ziyu Hao was, could he do anything to them? Thinking of this, they all smiled. The group of people quickly turned into flowing lights and shuttled into the forest. However, as soon as they arrived at the elf forest, they were stunned before they could even pick the spiritual herbs. Their expressions became incomparably grave. That was because there was an incomparably intense light coming from the depths of the forest. Half of the demonic chi was overflowing, almost covering half of the elf forest. On the other side, a brilliant light shone, as if a sun had fallen into the mortal world. What's going on? What happened? Could it be that a unique treasure of heaven and earth was about to appear? The young geniuses cried out in surprise, while the eyes of the others burned with passion. Such a worldly anomaly was definitely a rare treasure. Let's go and take a look. Everyone, be careful, one of the senior half-saints said in a deep voice. The group of people moved forward quickly. They left the outside and set off towards the depths of the elf forest. As soon as they stepped into the depths of the elf forest, their bodies stiffened and they stopped in place. They felt that there was an incomparably terrifying energy in front of them that swept in all directions. Moreover, the forest in front of them had long been reduced to ashes. In the sky, there were terrifying large cracks everywhere, each of which could swallow a person. The violent energy swept in all directions. It was chaos. The ground was even more cracked, and there were no trees left, let alone other treasures of heaven and earth. All of them were reduced to ashes. Damn it, someone was fighting. Those senior cultivators were shocked, and the young warriors' scalps were numb. What kind of person could cause the impact of tens of millions of miles away? They were really shocked. They did not dare to go forward. Among them, and Xiongfei's eyes were wide open as he stared straight ahead. He looked at the monstrous demonic chi with an incomparably grave expression. Could it be that person? Young Master knew who it was? The other senior half-saints also frowned and asked. They did not know, and Xiongfei nodded. Someone had seen such a monstrous demonic chi before. It was said that an extremely terrifying figure had appeared. The moment he appeared, he killed many young geniuses and half-saints, causing everyone to tremble. In the end, someone investigated and said that it was done by the legendary Great Demon. Great Demon? Are you talking about the one in the demon race? Many seniors felt their scalps go numb when they heard this. They were no strangers to such legends. After all, great demons were extremely terrifying existences. That's right, and Xiongfei also nodded with difficulty. The others gasped. They didn't expect that the legendary Great Demon would actually appear and engage in a life-and-death battle with someone else on this planet. But what made them even more puzzled was that if the one with the monstrous demonic chi was the Great Demon, then who was the person with the golden light? What kind of person could fight with the Great Demon? And from the looks of it, they were evenly matched. They didn't know. Hence, they were all prepared to go and watch. But they had just flown tens of thousands of miles when an extremely dazzling light suddenly erupted in front of them. The berserk energy was like a wave that could destroy the world, sweeping towards them. Not good. Retreat. These people retreated crazily. The void that they had just stood in was shattered. The young cultivators were so frightened that their bodies trembled. Previously, they were full of confidence and didn't put anyone in their eyes. They thought that nothing here could threaten them. But now, facing the aftermath of the battle between these two, they didn't even have the ability to resist. The difference was simply too great. Watching from afar, those seniors also sighed and used their respective divine abilities, wanting to explore the area ahead. And Xiongfei's eyes flickered as he looked ahead. Ahead, after the shocking attack, they temporarily settled down. Lin Xian retreated with a solemn expression. There were cracks on his body. They were caused by the impact of the demonic qi. Buzz. The divine flame on his body surged and burned the demonic qi, healing his body. The great demon opposite him also frowned. He was also injured. Some parts of his body were charred black, and one of his arms was deformed. Ka. His bent arm quickly recovered, but his face was terrifyingly dark. Brat, you've completely angered me. The great demon was very unhappy. He didn't expect the other party to be so strong and be able to fight evenly with him. It seemed that he had to use some methods. Demon devours the world. Chapter 3260. With a furious roar, the aura on his body erupted once again. Endless demonic aura from the 9 heavens and 10 lands surged and swept towards Lin Xian. The demonic aura became extremely terrifying, as if it wanted to devour everything. It wanted to devour Lin Xian's flesh and flames. In an instant, Lin Xian was shrouded by the demonic aura. However, he was still fearless. He unleashed the law of fire fragment to the extreme. The flames burned fiercely. 9 suns opened the sky. He would use his peerless fist to destroy everything. Boom, boom. The endless demonic clouds were pierced through by him, creating many empty areas. The flames on his body ignited these demonic shadows and burned them fiercely. Clouds of black smoke rose into the sky. How can a mere demonic aura suppress me? I'll burn you to ashes today. Lin Xian roared and stood in the void. The flames on his body rotated rapidly between his palms. Then they formed a golden crow. He held it in his hand and blasted it forward. The golden crow was like a sun. It turned into a shooting star and blasted all the demonic clouds away. This golden crow was too real. It was so lifelike that every single feather could be seen clearly. Its eyes were bright and full of expression, as if it had been bestowed with life. It seems that other than the 9 suns' divine body, you have other means. Seeing this, the great demon frowned. Then he laughed coldly. But it's good. I'll let you see my superpower. Demonic origin wheel. He raised one hand. An endless demonic aura quickly condensed in his palm, forming a black wheel that spun rapidly. On it, there were pitch-black law fragments. Buzz. Then he threw the black wheel out. The void was pierced. This attack seemed to have blown up the entire world. Countless black lights flickered like black crows dancing. It was an extremely strange sight. Half of the sky had turned into black light spots. They flickered as if black stars were breathing. Damn it, what is this thing? The crimson dragon frowned. He didn't know what it was, but he knew that the energy it contained was too terrifying. In the distance, and Xiongfei and the others were even more dumbfounded. The black light spots in the sky made them tremble. They estimated that a single light spot could kill a half-sage. Is this the legendary great demon? It's too terrifying. The older half-sages were also terrified. The bodies of the young geniuses were trembling as well. They could not wait to run away. Among them, a white-haired old man narrowed his eyes and screamed. Not good. That's the demonic origin wheel. I've seen this superpower in the ancient books. It's said that it's very powerful. It is said to hurt one's soul. It is very likely that one will be killed. Even if he didn't die, his cultivation would probably stagnate, unable to advance any further. What? How could it be so terrifying? A single black spot was already so terrifying. At this moment, there were tens of millions of black spots in the sky. That person was probably in danger. That's right. I wonder who it is that's fighting the great demon. Lin Xian had a serious expression on his face. He naturally felt a sense of crisis. One had to admit that this great demon was truly terrifying. He could unleash such a terrifying divine ability just by raising his hand. Humph! He snorted and waved his hand, urging the flaming golden crow to quickly charge over. The two collided and exploded into a dazzling light screen. However, Lin Xian frowned. He could clearly feel that the golden crow he had unleashed was rapidly shrinking. Those black light spots pierced through the flames with astonishing power. Enraged, they quickly charged toward him. In an instant, the flaming golden crow was completely penetrated. It wailed and turned into a monstrous fire. It landed on the ground. The black spots in the sky flickered with a terrifying light and enveloped Lin Xian. Kid, let's see how you're going to stop it. The great demon sneered. Lin Xian roared, and a terrifying black law fragment flew out from his body again. As he waved his arm, it turned into streaks of sword light that circled around him like a black river. The law of annihilation. As soon as the law appeared, it formed a destructive force that collided with the black spots in the sky. The silent collision was like the melting of ice and fire. The frightening black spots on the black sword mark instantly dissipated rapidly, like moths flying into a flame. It was extremely strange. What's going on? Could it be that he had been blocked? The half-sages and geniuses in the distance were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. The terrifying demonic origin wheel was blocked. Who was that person? The Crimson Dragon breathed a sigh of relief and focused on the scene again. The great demon frowned. He was able to block his demonic origin wheel. That power was the power of decomposition and dissipation. His eyes were cold as he stared at the black sword light and frowned. It seems that you have mastered more than one law, but you've only blocked it. Let's see how long you can block it. He snorted. Competing with the power of laws, he would not lose to the other party. In the sky, the two kinds of law forces collided with each other. It was extremely terrifying. Every blow could kill a half-sage. Lin Xian frowned. He waved his hand. An array of sword chi shot out. It was like a fire dragon that soared into the sky. With this slash of the sword, the black spots were cleaved apart, and the sky was once again illuminated by a bright light. No way. The demonic origin wheel was repelled. The people in the distance were stunned. Previously, they were evenly matched, but suddenly, a large part of the demonic origin wheel was destroyed. What was going on? The young geniuses were stunned, and Xiongfei could not understand it either. Only a few experts of the older generation were extremely shocked. Sword Chi, it was that person who struck out with Sword Chi and destroyed the demon origin wheel. What? Sword Chi? Could it be that he was a pure sword saint? Wasn't that too terrifying? These people exclaimed. He was definitely a super powerhouse. Otherwise, he would not be able to contend with the great demon for so long. The great demon also frowned. Sword Chi, how did the other party's Sword Chi become so terrifying? 9 revolutions of demonic origin. The great demon roared. His black hair fluttered, and his hands danced. Suddenly, the huge wheel in the sky began to rotate. Every rotation brought with it a strange and monstrous power. After the 9th rotation, the power was extremely powerful. Between heaven and earth, demonic chi was vast and mighty as if a demon god had awakened. The powerful aura was like a wave, vast and mighty. Boom, boom. The power of the 9 revolutions of demonic origin suppressed the sword chi, and the law of annihilation once again. It was as if a part of the world was pressing down from the sky, trying to suppress Lin Xian. What a terrifying power! This was simply a brand new world. This great demon was simply too terrifying. The powerhouses of the 8 great families were shocked. They estimated that all of them could not block this attack. They would be turned into ashes in an instant. The Crimson Dragon also frowned and became worried. This great demon was too powerful. Kid, hurry up and use all your strength. Boom. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the darkness descending from the sky. His eyes erupted with a piercing light. Chapter 32:61. With a stomp of his foot, the earth beneath him trembled, and fragments of the law of earth quickly condensed on his body. Rise! With a furious roar, the law fragments formed a vast mountain range that stretched for thousands of miles, forming a terrifying land that soared into the sky. The mountain range was incomparably terrifying, as if it was a boundless land. What's this? In the distance, the powerhouses of the 8 great families almost popped their eyes out when they saw this scene. Did he lift up the entire land? They were too terrified. No, it's the law of earth. It's the law of earth. This person also has the law of earth, and its power is terrifying. What? The law of earth? The young geniuses were dumbfounded. The flames from before must have been the law of fire. That pitch-black sword light must have been another law. Now that the other party is using the law of earth, who is he? Isn't he comprehending too many laws? Boom, boom, boom. Above, the pitch-black sky pressed down, and the boundless mountain range below turned into a land that soared into the sky. The collision of heaven and earth was the ultimate power. Boom, boom, boom. This scene was like the end of the world. It was like a pair of boundless hands had slapped heaven and earth together. The void within tens of millions of miles was once again shattered into chaos. Everyone could only retreat frantically as everything in front of them was swallowed up. The terrifying apocalyptic scene lasted for a very long time before it slowly dissipated. The people of the 8 great families widened their eyes and looked carefully. The young geniuses' voices were trembling. That's impossible, right? Under such destructive energy, only a sage can survive. Otherwise, the 2 of them will die together. Not to mention these young geniuses, even the veteran half-sages probably had the same thought. In fact, they were even waiting for the storm to calm down before going forward to see who was fighting. However, they were soon stunned, and Xiongfei's pupils constricted as he looked into the distance and exclaimed, "Look, their figures have appeared. They're not dead." Everyone raised their heads and looked up at the starry sky. In the void, tens of millions of miles away, 2 figures stood facing each other. Light erupted from their bodies. Both of them had injuries on their bodies. It was obvious that the shocking attack from before had impacted both of them. However, this impact was not fatal to them. The great demon roared. The demonic chi of the 9 heavens and 10 earths gathered towards him. Wung. The cracks on his body healed, and his aura became stronger again. On the other side, Lin Xian also snorted coldly. His 9-yang divine body released its divine aura, and the law of wood and longevity secret art circulated rapidly to absorb the energy of heaven and earth. This caused his body to rapidly heal. In an instant, it was as good as new. Heavens, are these 2 people immortal? The members of the 8 great clans were all scared silly. Against such a violent attack, they would have been reduced to ashes. No one below the Saint Realm could survive. Fortunately, although these 2 were injured, They recovered in an instant. What kind of physique was this? That wasn't right. It was rumored that the great devil body was incomparably terrifying. It was one of the strongest physiques in the myriad worlds. It was normal for it to be able to recover quickly. However, what kind of physique did the person who fought with the great demon have? Why was he so powerful? He was definitely a peerless expert, and it was very likely that he had one of the strongest physiques in the universe. Otherwise, it would be impossible to achieve such a scene. They were really curious. Who was it? Was he fighting with the great demon? Especially a prodigy like Xiongfei. Thousands of thoughts ran through his mind. Was it someone on the Abyss leaderboard? If so, it must be someone in the top 5. Who was it? Zhao Wuliang? Long Zhaodian? Or was it the new successor of the great emperor, Yan Nantian? Or rather, it was the mysterious Di Ling who ranked first on the leaderboard. He didn't know, but if it was a young prodigy, it was very likely to be one of these people. If it wasn't a young prodigy, then it had to be a super expert. If that was the case, he couldn't be sure who it was at all. In the void, Lin Xian's body recovered, and he looked forward with a cold gaze. That's all you've got. Do you have any more tricks up your sleeve? If not, then you can go to hell in peace. You want me to go to hell? Aren't you a little too arrogant? Don't forget that in the battle between the 9 young divine body and the great demon clan won more. Therefore, there's no exception today. You will be killed by me. The demonic origin wheel is only one of my most powerful abilities, but it's not my strongest ability. It's not even in the top 3. Now, I'll let you witness my unparalleled great divine ability. The great demon's voice was like a clap of thunder, clearly spreading throughout the world. When the experts of the 8 great clans heard this, they were terrified. What? The demonic origin wheel was only one of his abilities, and it wasn't even in the top 3? Heavens, just how terrifying was this great demon? That godlike figure was probably in danger. The attack he used to block the demonic origin wheel was probably his strongest attack. The great demon was extremely terrifying. Once he appeared, he could sweep through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Very few people were his match. Moreover, according to records, the great demon had a mortal enemy, and it seemed that he was the successor of the 9 young divine body. The successor of the 9 sons possessed the 9 sons' divine body, which was extremely terrifying. Once he matured, he would be one of the super experts in the universe. Moreover, he was very promising on the path to becoming a great emperor. Yet, such an existence was more likely to lose than win in a battle against the great demon clan. One could imagine how terrifying the great demon was. The young geniuses were stunned when they heard this. This legend was like a myth, and Xiongfei's pupils constricted. Wait, mortal enemy, what did you say? The great demon clan and the 9 young divine body were mortal enemies? Yes, they were mortal enemies. Every time they appeared, there would be an earth-shattering battle. As soon as an elder finished speaking, his body trembled, and his eyes widened. Could it be? He didn't finish speaking, but his eyes were already filled with shock. The other older half-sages also seemed to have thought of something, and their scalps went numb. In the next moment, their eyes were like rainbows as they stared at the figure in the distance who was burning with divine flames. He looked like a god of war, heaven's terrifying flames, and a super strong physique that could compete with the supreme demonic body. Moreover, the flames were monstrous like the sun. Could it be the 9 young divine body? As soon as these words were said, the other experts and geniuses of the 8 great clans were all stunned. Their minds were blank. After a long time, they finally reacted and screamed. What? The 9 young divine body. Was that person the successor of the 9 young divine body? Heavens, they almost scared the hell out of them. The successor of the 9 young divine body was fighting the successor of the great demon clan. It was a fated battle. In the ancient legends, the fated battle between the great demon and the nine-yang divine body could be said to be one of the most exciting battles on the ancient path of the stars. Countless people praised that battle, and it evolved into a historical myth that spread throughout the universe. In the past, they could only imagine the battle scene in their minds when they heard the older generation talk about it. But now, they seem to be able to witness this fated battle with their own eyes. Thinking of this, they trembled with excitement. Chapter 3262. After coming to this conclusion, the experts of the 8 great families were stunned. This was a battle that was hard to come by in 10,000 years. Among them, a few white-haired elders immediately yelled and took out their formation records. They had to record the battle down. The eyes of the others also lit up. That's right, the fated battle between the great demon and the 9 sons was a legend. No one had ever seen it with their own eyes, but now they were seeing it with their own eyes. This was a blessing that they had accumulated over several lifetimes. However, they did not plan to be the only ones to see it. They wanted to use an array formation to record this battle. They wanted to spread the news throughout the universe. They could not let such a battle be drowned in this vast forest. They had to let more experts and geniuses see it. Thinking of this, the people of the 8 great families quickly took out their array discs and formed an array formation to record the battle ahead. At the same time, they quickly retreated a few million miles to ensure their safety. The array formation flickered, clearly reflecting everything in front of them. In front of them, the void shattered. Lin Xian frowned. Was he going to use a new divine ability? Well, it was time to end it. To be honest, from the moment he became the successor of the 9 sons, he knew that there would be such a battle in his life. Moreover, he knew that his opponent was very powerful and was not weaker than the successor of the 9 sons. In fact, it was even stronger. But so what? Lin Xian had grown to this day. What kind of battle had he not experienced? Although today was a fated battle, he was not afraid at all. On the contrary, he felt his blood boiling. Buzz, with a wave of his hand, the black annihilation laws around him disappeared. The earth laws under his feet also disappeared. On his body, the divine fire overflowed, and the fire laws became more and more tyrannical. Since it was a fated battle and his opponent was the great demon, he would naturally use the 9 sons' inheritance to fight with his opponent. Sure enough, seeing the energy change in Lin Xian's body, the Crimson Dragon sighed. Sigh, this kid is too stubborn. Why is he talking about rules with the great demon? If it were Ben Huang, he would have used all kinds of methods to kill his opponent. Of course, he knew that Lin Xian would not do that. Lin Xian wanted to make a name for the 9 sons' lineage. Oh, you're not going to use any other divine abilities? You want to use the 9 sons' inheritance to fight? Brat, do you think you can contend against him? The great demon could clearly sense the change in Lin Xian's strength. Immediately, a trace of disdain appeared in his eyes. To be honest, if you didn't have other divine abilities and laws, you would have been killed in the previous battle. With just your 9 sons' inheritance, you can't kill me. It's impossible for you to contend against me. Humph! Lin Xian didn't say anything. He wanted to prove everything with his actions. Lin Xian let out a long roar as his body blossomed, with terrifying flames. At this moment, Lin Xian looked like a supreme sun war god, his hair wildly dancing in the wind. The 9 heavens and 10 earths trembled along with him. At this moment, he did not hold back in the slightest. He unleashed his 9-yang divine body to its limits. The 9-yang divine body was one of the strongest physiques in the universe. His physique was strong and his attacks were strong. Once the 9-yang divine fire was used, it could burn everything. At this moment, Lin Xian was like a god of fire as he charged out forcefully. He stretched out his palm, and it was like a terrifying mountain that slammed down from the sky. In an instant, the void in front of him shattered, and the ground below sank once again. This terrifying power shocked the people of the 8 great families in the distance. Their hands that were controlling the array formation trembled. It was too terrifying. The other party's physique had become stronger again. Could it be that he hadn't used his full strength before? That's right, Lin Xian's previous battle with the Great Demon was just a probing attack. Now, he had already sensed that the Great Demon was not simple. He wanted to fight with all his strength. At this moment, when he attacked with all his strength, the power was truly terrifying. It was even more terrifying than when he used many kinds of laws previously. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. His palm landed and spread out in all directions. From afar, it was as if the entire sky was shattered by his palm. The golden palm was very fast. In an instant, it arrived in front of the Great Demon. Before the palm landed, the terrifying storm had already rushed onto the Great Demon's body. With a crack, countless cracks appeared on the Great Demon's body. The demonic aura on his body was suppressed until it dimmed and burned. This scene made the Crimson Dragon suck in a breath of cold air. This was the first time he had seen Lin Xian use the 9-yang divine body to such an extent. In the distance, the people of the 8 great families were even more dumbfounded. Was this the successor of the 9-yang divine body? It was too terrifying. Who could contend with such a physique? The Great Demon's expression also changed. He let out a long roar, and the demonic aura of the 9 heavens and 10 earths surged towards him. The supreme demon body quickly healed. In the next moment he roared, "You're courting death." Chaotic demon fist. The black fist, like a shooting star, soared into the sky and collided with the splendid big palm. An earth-shattering sound rang out. This attack was even more terrifying than the collision between the sky and earth. Moreover, what was even more terrifying was that previously, when the two of them had used great magical powers to create the sky and earth, they had only collided once. However, this time, the two of them launched a terrifying attack after exchanging blows. The Great Demon's chaotic demon fist was obviously a terrifying fist technique. Coupled with his supreme demon body, it was terrifying to the extreme. On the other side, Lin Xian used the 9-yang divine palm. The monstrous palm continued to fall, and countless golden rays of light rushed into the clouds. It was an earth-shattering collision. Each blow could easily kill a half-saint. The two of them exchanged more than 100 blows. Everywhere they passed, everything was turned into ashes. Not good. Run. The people of the 8 great families were scared out of their wits. They realized that this time, the two of them were moving as they fought. Very soon, their side was affected. These people fled, as if they had gone mad. They brought the formation with them and flew further away. Fortunately, the primeval forest was too vast. Although it had affected tens of millions of miles, it was not a problem for the primeval forest. Unless someone could blow up the entire planet with one blow, the forest would always exist. The people of the 8 great families once again came to a safe place. They controlled the array formation and recorded the scene of the battle in the distance. In the distance, a scream was heard. The Great Demon's fist was grabbed by a large golden hand and clenched tightly. The fist was directly crushed. Not only that, the Great Demon's entire arm was also turned into ashes. Damn it, get lost! The Great Demon roared and swept out his right leg. Like a heavenly blade, he kicked directly at Lin Xian. The power it carried shattered the void within millions of miles. With a boom, the kick landed on Lin Xian's arm, causing Lin Xian to retreat. His arm was also broken. However, both of their physiques were super strong. In an instant, they recovered. The next moment, they fought again. Chaotic demon fist, demon dance. He roared angrily and used one of his fist techniques to kill. For a moment, countless terrifying fist shadows appeared in all directions. Each of them was like a black sun. They were extremely dazzling. These black fist shadows danced between heaven and earth like demons, and then flew toward Lin Xian together. In an instant, the space where Lin Xian was sealed, forming a closed cage. He couldn't escape at all. He could only resist. Chapter 3263. This horrifying scene made the Crimson Dragon nervous. In the distance, the people of the 8 great families were even more shocked. Oh my God, what a terrifying divine power! The successor of the 9 sons was in danger. That's right, I don't know how he's going to fight back. Facing such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian snorted coldly. The light on his body shot into the sky as he quickly circulated all the energy in his body. The flames on his body formed a huge flaming sword that he held in his hand. 9 Sons sword technique. At this moment, Lin Xian displayed a sword technique that was unparalleled in the world. Streaks of sword chi bloomed with resplendent light. They were like fire dragons that shot into the sky. The terrifying power could suppress everything. Pung, 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 pung. Although the surrounding black fist shadows were terrifying, under the 9 Sons sword technique, they were still shattered into pieces. After the fist shadows were shattered, the great demon did not retreat. Instead, he roared again. He formed a seal with his palms, and his demonic aura filled the sky. With my demonic aura, tainted with my demonic blood, I will be a demon for all eternity. Heaven and earth will shatter. At this point, he opened his mouth and spat out a drop of blood that surged forward. Instantly, heaven and earth shattered. The black fists turned into demons that bared their fangs and brandished their claws. Then, they formed a blurry figure. That blurry figure was too terrifying. It was impossible to tell what it was. One could only tell that it was a Taoist. The figure sat cross-legged in the void and chanted a strange demonic scripture. Boom, boom, boom. Under this strange sound, the 9 heavens and 10 earths quickly split apart. The space around Lin Xian continued to shatter. The flames on his body were suppressed once again, and they even began to tremble. One could imagine that even if the 9 Sons' divine body was powerful, it would not be able to withstand such a strange scene. Lin Xian snorted coldly. No matter how you change, I will slash you with my sword. His voice sounded like a sword god. Terrifying flaming sword chi surrounded him. The flaming sword in his hand exploded with unparalleled light. When the sword slashed out, it was like an eternal immortal light that could destroy all demons. The demonic aura in the sky trembled violently as if ice and snow had met the sun and quickly melted. Boom, boom. The blurry figure collided with the 9 Sons' sword technique in an earth-shattering manner. But in the end, the blurry figure could not withstand the terrifying sword chi and dissipated. The terrifying devil chi had completely disappeared. In the distance, the great demon groaned and spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, you can actually break my demon summoning scripture? How is that possible? His eyes widened in disbelief. The demonic summoning scripture was so terrifying that he dared to guarantee that no one below the saint plane would be able to resist it. Even if he was facing a saint, he was confident that he could slaughter him. But now, his demonic summoning scripture had been shattered by a single sword strike from his opponent. This scene was too shocking. In the distance, the people of the 8 great clans were also dumbfounded when they saw this scene. The great demon was actually injured. Heavens, could it be that this generation's successor of the 9 Sons was so terrifying? He wouldn't defeat the great demon, would he? If that was the case, the entire universe would be shaken. Although you are powerful, you are still a demon. Lin Xian shook his head. "You are no match for me. Brat, you're too arrogant. Don't think that you can defeat me just because you've injured me. Let me tell you, you still have a long way to go." With a long roar, the mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Tens of thousands of miles of the void were all shattered. His black hair danced wildly, and a black phantom appeared in his hand. It was like a millstone of destruction that kept spinning. Lin Xian held the Nine Suns' divine sword in his hand and faced the terrifying world-destroying demonic disc. This attack was like two worlds colliding. The energy that was released was too terrifying. Endless light shot into the clouds, breaking through the sky and flying into the outer realm. Roar! The great demon roared. He was incomparably powerful. After that attack, he charged over again. The world-destroying demonic disc in his hand was even more terrifying. It was as if it could really destroy everything in the world. Lin Xian also roared and soared into the sky. Endless flame, sword energy burned fiercely on his body. The terrifying sword swept across the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The 9 suns sword technique and the world-destroying demonic disc kept colliding. Everything that was affected by the two energies was turned into ashes. In the distance, the cultivators of the 8 great clans swallowed their saliva when they saw this scene. It was too terrifying. Was this still a half-saint? Why did it feel like 2 saints were fighting? Kid, you can't do it. My great demon lineage will kill your 9 sons' lineage forever. This great demon was incomparably powerful. The demonic aura on his body was monstrous. It was truly terrifying to the extreme. Kill me? You don't have the ability. Lin Xian snorted coldly and did not say anything. However, the sword energy on his body became even more piercingly cold. The sword chi struck the world-destroying demonic disc, causing it to tremble nonstop. Cracks even appeared on its surface. One could imagine how terrifying the sword energy was. Boom! In the end, Lin Xian's sword split the world-destroying demonic disc in half. The violent energy turned into a black sea that slammed in all directions. The entire world seemed to have been split apart by the sword. The great demon retreated. A sword mark appeared on his body, almost splitting him in half. Blood flowed out of his body in an instant. I've said it before. You're no match for me. Lin Xian was like a sword god. His voice was incomparably sharp. In the distance, the people of the 8 great clans were shocked. Heavens, the great demon was injured again. Could it be that the 9 sons' lineage was really going to win this time? That's great. On the other side, the Crimson Dragon was also excited. From the looks of it, Lin Xian shouldn't be in any danger, right? Damn it! Demonic aura surged on the great demon's body. Demonic runes flickered, and his cracked body recovered. However, the world-destroying millstone in his hand did not appear again. His eyes were incomparably gloomy. You actually managed to break my world-destroying mystique. Kid, you've really exceeded my expectations. However, this is what you asked for. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. With a cold bellow, the black spear from before appeared in his hand. It blossomed in the sky and crushed countless voids. The great demon held it in his hand. Buzz! The moment the black spear appeared, it brought with it countless illusions. In the illusions, there was a sea of blood and mountains of corpses. Countless headless experts were wailing and dancing in the air. That terrifying scene caused one scalp to go numb with a single glance. What kind of weapon was that? How could there be such a terrifying scene? When the people of the 8 great clans saw this scene, they almost knelt on the ground. It was too terrifying. The moment this aura appeared, it was as if it could destroy them, especially the young geniuses. When they saw the terrifying illusions, they almost fainted. The older generation people also exclaimed, could it be that this was the treasure of the great demon clan, the great destruction spear? The Great Destruction Spear was an extremely terrifying existence. It was said that it had been stained with the blood of many saints. Countless half-sages had died in its hands. It was an extremely terrifying weapon. Chapter 3264. The young geniuses held their breaths as their eyes widened. They had never seen such a terrifying weapon before. Many people exclaimed. The great demon was already very terrifying. Now that he was holding such a peerless weapon, would the successor of the 9 sons be able to withstand it? No one knew. From the looks of it, the successor of the 9 sons was suppressing the great demon. However, now that the great demon had taken out the Great Destruction Spear, he would definitely be able to suppress his opponent. If the successor of the 9 sons couldn't take out a powerful weapon, he would definitely be defeated. That's right. The older generation experts were also frowning. An ordinary sage-to-be weapon was nothing in front of the Great Destruction Spear. They kept discussing. In the distance, the Crimson Dragon's pupils constricted when he saw this scene. Damn it, it's that weapon. The weapon had shocked him too much. He had thought that it was a sage-to-be weapon. However, even if it wasn't a sage-to-be weapon, it was close. There was a terrifying illusion on it that made his hair stand on end. No, that kid's blazing Qilin sword was inferior to the Great Destruction Spear. What is he going to use? The Crimson Dragon frowned. After taking out the Great Destruction Spear, the great demon's aura rose again. He looked coldly in front of him. Kid, you should be proud that you made me use the Great Destruction Spear. Now, you can die in peace. He took a step forward and waved the Great Destruction Spear, thrusting it forward. Boom! The sky seemed to be pierced through by something. Countless cracks instantly appeared as a black stream of light pierced towards Lin Xian. In the blink of an eye, it was in front of him. What a terrifying weapon! Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He could feel the ferocious aura of the black spear. In the next moment, he pulled out a flaming sword and swept it out. The flaming sword was caught by him and instantly bloomed with light. The sword trembled nonstop and turned into a fire Qilin, rushing in all directions. This was the fire Qilin sword that he had obtained from the Fire Spirit Cave. Boom! He swept the sword out and slashed at the black light in front of him. In the next moment, an earth-shattering sound rang out as intense collisions erupted. The fire Qilin transformed into a Qilin, roaring in all directions. However, the Great Annihilation Spear was too terrifying. With one strike, the fire Qilin was pierced through. With a clang, the blazing Qilin sword was split into 2. What was it that could shatter a half-saint tool? Lin Xian was extremely shocked. In the next moment, he was once again sent flying by this force. After flying for over 1,000,000 miles, Lin Xian crashed into the boundless void before finally landing on the ground. On his shoulder, there was a terrifying bloody hole. Around it were countless cracks that covered his entire body. This blow nearly tore him into pieces. The people of the 8 great families sucked in a mouthful of cold air. The 9-young divine body was shattered. This was simply too terrifying. The 9-young divine body was so powerful that it could suppress the supreme devil body of the great devil. They even suspected that his physique was comparable to a saint's physique. However, even with such a strong physique, it was unable to withstand this attack. One could imagine how terrifying the power of the previous attack was. If it were any other half-saint, their body and soul would have been destroyed long ago. Rumor had it that the Great Annihilation Spear had been stained with the blood of more than one saint. It seemed that this legend was very likely true. Damn it, is that kid all right? The Crimson Dragon also became nervous. He could not help but want to save him. However, in the end, he did not make a move. He knew that this was a battle of fate. Only Lin Xian could face it alone. Boom. Under the ground, 1,000,000 miles away, countless rocks cracked, and a figure stood out. It was Lin Xian. At this moment, Lin Xian's body was covered in cracks like broken porcelain. It was an exceptionally shocking sight. What a terrifying attack. He was also extremely shocked. At this moment, the great devil quickly flew over and rushed near him again, looking down at him from above. "You're not dead yet? It seems that your physique is beyond imagination. But so what? Can't you block my second attack?" The great annihilation spear in his hand flickered with a demonic light again. The surrounding sea of blood and mountains of corpses became more solid, as if they were really going to appear in the world. Lin Xian's 9-yang divine body vibrated and released millions of rays of light, quickly repairing the cracks. At the same time, a biting cold light burst out from his eyes. He looked at the long sword in his hand. The original blazing Qilin sword was now broken. This made him sigh. The blazing Qilin sword could be said to be a top half-saint weapon. It was very sharp, but it was still inferior to the great annihilation spear. Shaking his head, Lin Xian put away the blazing Qilin sword. It seemed that he could only use that one. As he spoke, he quickly waved his hand, and a dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared in his hand. As soon as the dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared, the 9 heavens and 10 earths quickly collapsed. Countless sword chi rushed into the sky like lightning. Crack, crack. The sky collapsed, and the earth cracked. All kinds of heaven and earth phenomena danced wildly. Thousands of miles away, the powerhouses of the 8 great families also trembled. A trace of fear appeared in their eyes, as if a sword light had streaked across their heads. In the next moment, they felt the swords in their hands tremble nonstop. What was going on? They gripped their weapons tightly, their eyes filled with shock. In the next moment, they looked into the distance. When they saw the cyan dragon-shaped sword shadow floating in the void, they were all stunned. Heavens, that was a long sword. When the long sword appeared, it triggered a heaven and earth phenomenon and shattered the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Just the aura that appeared was so terrifying. They were really stunned. The power displayed by the dragon-shaped longsword was not weaker than the great annihilation spear at all. The successor of the 9-yang divine body actually had such a terrifying weapon. It seemed that the outcome of this battle was uncertain again. These people were extremely shocked. They had thought that the successor of the 9-yang divine body was going to lose, but now it seemed that the outcome was still unknown. It was no wonder that the battle between the 9-yang divine body and the great demon was called one of the most dazzling battles on the ancient path of the stars. Now it seemed that he lived up to his reputation. Although the two of them were only half-sages, the divine powers and power they displayed had already surpassed that of other half-sages. They were not inferior to a true sage. Even now, the two of them gave off the feeling that they were fighting as if they were sages. The surrounding young elites were stunned. What? No way. They had the strength to kill sages? Sages were existences that transcended heaven and earth, no matter how powerful the two of them were. How could they kill such existences? They really did not dare to believe it. However, the experts of the older generation sighed. Sages were indeed existences that transcended heaven and earth, but the weapons in the hands of the two of them were too terrifying. The great annihilation spear had been stained with the blood of sages more than once. Although they did not know what kind of weapon the other party's dragon-shaped sword shadow was in terms of power and heaven and earth phenomena, it was definitely not weaker than the great annihilation spear. It would not be difficult for such a weapon to injure a sage. Chapter 3265. Hearing this, the sky prides were shocked, and Xiongfei trembled violently. He was ranked purple on the Abyss leaderboard and could be said to be a top dazzling sky pride. However, compared to a sage, he was insignificant. However, there were two people as young as them who had the power to kill a sage. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. The great demon's face also darkened, and there was a hint of seriousness in his eyes. To be honest, in his opinion, the other party was definitely dead because no matter how strong the other party was, he couldn't block his spear of destruction. However, at that moment, his opponent had actually taken out a sword. Furthermore, its might was actually not inferior to the Great Destruction Spear. Damn it, what was that? The great demon's face was gloomy, and his eyes were like divine lamps as he stared at the dragon-shaped sword shadow in front of him. In the next moment, his eyelids twitched. Could it be that thing? But it shouldn't be. How did he get that thing? He was extremely shocked. On the opposite side, Lin Xian grabbed the dragon-shaped sword shadow, and in the next moment, the sword shadow erupted with endless power. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and the dragon-shaped sword shadow became more and more solid, as if it was a real sword. This time, Lin Xian used the great dragon sword soul to use it as a weapon. To be honest, if the other party didn't take out the spear of destruction, he wouldn't have taken out the dragon-shaped sword shadow. Do you think you're the only one who has a weapon? After Lin Xian held the dragon-shaped sword shadow, he snorted coldly. The dragon-shaped sword shadow in his hand bloomed with incomparable light, as if it wasn't a long sword, but a real dragon. As Lin Xian waved his arm, the dragon-shaped sword shadow roared and slashed out. This slash was earth-shattering, and sword light was everywhere in the sky and on the ground, devouring everything. Even the demonic chi was pierced through. Boom. On the other side, the spear of destruction also attacked crazily. The two collided. This time, the power was even more terrifying, and it had already spread to a radius of 30 million miles, and it was still spreading. Retreat quickly. Retreat 50 million miles away. The people of the 8 great families roared crazily. The Crimson Dragon also pierced through the void and quickly retreated. Within 50 million miles, the scene was simply too horrifying. Everything was reduced to ashes. This was practically a fight between two saints. Boom. After that strike, the great demon stood in the void. He held the great destruction spear in his hand and pierced through the heavens and earth. He was like a demon god. Mysterious demonic runes flickered on his body as he exuded a terrifying aura. He was like a true peerless demon king. Light of destruction. With a loud shout, the great destruction spear in his hand danced wildly. A terrifying black light covered the sky and surged forward. The great demon's black hair danced in the wind as he devoured the demonic energy of heaven and earth. He unleashed a supreme technique, wanting to kill Lin Xian. Lin Xian was swallowed up by the black light. His surroundings were pitch black, and the sword chi on his body was suppressed and dimmed. Humph! As for him, he snorted coldly. His 9 yang divine body blossomed with incomparable light. The dragon-shaped sword in his hand also stabbed out, colliding with the great wave annihilation spear. The heavens and earth collapsed, the sword chi shattered, and the demonic energy dispersed. Lin Xian opened his mouth and sucked all the shattered demonic energy into his body, as if he was drinking water. Boom, boom. All the demonic energy in his body let out an earth-shattering sound. However, it was soon suppressed by Lin Xian. It was used to temper his body. Seeing the scene, the great demon snorted coldly. The great destruction spear in his hand moved again. The underworld reappeared. Following that cold voice, the second strike was unleashed. Countless black lights accompanied the great destruction spear, together with the sea of blood and the mountains of corpses. It formed a world. It was a pitch-black land with countless corpses buried on it. They were all the corpses of peerless powerhouses. After death, they still emitted a terrifying aura and terrifying light. There were also blood of various colors flowing on it. It was as if hell had appeared in the void. In an instant, it enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian appeared on the black land, surrounded by a terrifying scene. It emitted a terrifying aura that wanted to refine him. In the distance, the people of the 8 great families screamed when they saw this scene. The underworld! Heavens! This was the legendary land of death in the underworld. It could definitely refine everything and deprive a person of their life force. Even a sage would turn into ashes if he stayed there for a long time. What? So powerful! The surrounding young geniuses were shocked. Was this the legendary underworld? It could deprive a person of their life force. Even a sage couldn't escape. At this moment, he was using it to deal with the successor of the 9 sons. Could he block it? Lin Xian was in the underworld. He felt a cold aura that wanted to devour his life force and blood. Humph! He snorted coldly and stomped his foot. The underworld shook continuously but didn't shatter. Useless kid! My underworld is not an ordinary illusion. You can't break it. The great demon's voice was cold, and there was a cold smile in his eyes. Can't break it? Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the sky. Flames burned in his eyes, and his body shone brightly, blocking the surrounding black aura. In the next moment, he looked around at the terrifying underworld and said coldly, "Today, I will break it for you." 9 suns split the heavens. Lin Xian let out a long howl as he gripped the dragon-shaped sword with both hands. The aura from his body continued to burst forth like a sun, emitting a dazzling light. 9 suns split the heavens, the ultimate move of the 9 suns sword technique. When the sword slashed down, it seemed to split the heavens and earth. Boom, boom, boom. The underworld under his feet shook violently. The terrifying corpses and blood sea around him also collapsed. Soon, a crack appeared in the world, and it became bigger and bigger. Finally, with a crack, it split into 2. It shattered. He really split the underworld apart. The people of the 8 great families couldn't believe it. The Crimson Dragon heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Xian flew out of the crack. He quickly rose into the air, and the dragon-shaped sword in his hand slashed forward once more. It was another 9 suns split the heavens. This time, he slashed at the great demon. The great demon's eyes were round as he roared. Endless demonic aura surged from his body. He didn't believe that the other party could break his underworld so easily. But at this moment, he didn't have time to think. The other party was charging at him, which made him furious. Boom! The great spear of destruction in his hand spun continuously. The demonic runes on his hand illuminated the world. The demon's wrath. Facing the 9 suns split the heavens. The great demon once again used his ultimate ability. At this moment, the great demon's body flashed with light. An illusory demonic figure wearing battle armor rose from his body into the sky, together with the great spear of destruction. They surged forward together. The black figure was like a peerless demon that had awakened from ancient times. The moment he appeared, he covered the endless void. With a roar, the galaxy shattered, and the sun and moon fell. This scene was terrifying to the extreme. 9 suns split the heavens, descended from the sky like a fire dragon. It rampaged in the sky and collided with the demon's illusory figure. Chapter 3266. Amidst the violent roar, the demon god's shadow quickly split apart and finally disappeared between heaven and earth. Not only that, the great demon also spat out a mouthful of blood. A terrifying crack appeared on his body, almost splitting him into 2 halves. On the other side, the fiery sword Qi that filled the sky also disappeared. Lin Xian held the great dragon sword soul once again and stood in the void. In the distance, the people of the 8 great families were stunned when they saw this scene. Heavens, what kind of weapon is that? It can actually suppress the great destruction spear. Crack, crack. A crisp sound rang out. Numerous cracks appeared on the great demon's body, covering his entire body. Then, with a bang, he broke into pieces. Broken! The great demon's body was broken into pieces. The experts of the 8 great families couldn't believe it. The great demon screamed like a madman. His broken body quickly healed, and his eyes burst out with a biting cold light. Terrifying demonic chi surged, and the demon god's shadow appeared behind him once again, revolving nonstop. At this moment, heaven and earth were constantly shattering. Buzz, the great demon and the demon god's shadow behind him quickly merged, and a black light burst out from his body. The great destruction spear in his hand was extremely sharp. At this moment, the 9 heavens and 10 earths were shaking, and the entire star world seemed to be on the verge of shattering. The great demon roared, as if a real demon god had awakened. Kid, you've angered me. I want you dead. Lin Xian snorted coldly. In his hand, the dragon-shaped sword shadow burst out. An endless sword chi protected him firmly. The 9 yang divine body shone brightly, and the mysterious runes on it flickered with terrifying power that could shatter everything. Kill! The 2 of them roared and charged forward again. The peerless divine weapons in their hands clashed nonstop, and every strike could tear the heavens and earth apart. It was a peerless battle. The 2 of them fought with all their might, and all kinds of terrifying divine abilities and laws were constantly waved without holding back. You can't defeat me. The great demon's voice was exceptionally terrifying. Lin Xian snorted coldly. There was no point in talking. Let's fight. The sword chi in his hand became more and more biting cold. The terrifying dragon-shaped sword shadow hit the great destruction spear, causing it to tremble nonstop. The great demon's arm also trembled. Damn it! With a furious roar, an incomparable light erupted from his eyes. His eyes seemed to have transformed into 2 black vortexes that could devour everything. As far as the eye could see, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. Countless large cracks appeared in the sky. In the distance, the experts of the 8 great clans felt their hearts beating wildly. Many of them vomited mouthfuls of blood and almost fainted. It was too terrifying. What kind of gaze was that? With a single glance, it could pierce through tens of millions of li, shattering mountains and rivers. Even though they were so far away, they still felt their souls tremble. What kind of person was he? A casual glance was enough to kill a half-saint. The aura of the great devil surged once more. It was as if he had fused with the great destruction spear in his hand. Every strike of his seemed capable of piercing through everything. These 2 gazes swept out, causing cracks to appear on Lin Xian's body. However, Lin Xian let out a furious roar as his body rapidly healed. The great dragon sword soul in his hand pierced through the heavens and earth. Kill! With a furious roar, the sword chi on Lin Xian's body merged. He was like a supreme god of war, splitting the heavens and earth. Carrying flames that filled the sky, he rolled over and collided with the great destruction spear. In the next moment, endless light erupted. Nothing could be seen in front of him. However, soon screams could be heard. Even the heavens and earth were split in half. The boundless demonic chi and sword chi were also separated. Everyone saw an unforgettable scene. The great devil was split in half. Impossible! You can actually suppress my great destruction spear. What exactly are you? Even an ordinary sacred artifact can't suppress the great destruction spear. The great devil's broken body spat out a few words with difficulty. He was too shocked. Was the Great Destruction Spear very powerful? Lin Xian sneered, and the sword light in his hand became even colder. Damn it! Could it really be that thing? The great devil's body trembled. Something terrible came to his mind. The great dragon sword. You actually have the great dragon sword. To be honest, the dragon-shaped sword shadow made his scalp tingle. He could only search his memory for the great dragon sword. It seems that you're not too stupid to be able to recognize it. Lin Xian sneered. If you have any last words, just leave them. His sword chi surged out again. Get lost! The great devil roared crazily and waved the great destruction spear to block. However, he was still sent flying. There were even more cracks on his body. His eyes were filled with endless anger. Damn it, Yen Nantian dared to lie to me. He was furious. To be honest, he thought that the other party was only the successor of the 9 sons. He could definitely kill the other party with the great destruction spear, but he didn't expect the other party to have the great dragon sword. This was an offensive Saint Art of the World, the successor of the 9 sons, and the great dragon sword could definitely block his great destruction spear. He could even suppress it. However, he didn't know any of this. He didn't know that Lin Xian had the great dragon sword. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in such a hurry. He would at least wait until he broke through to become a sage before killing the other party. Damn it, Yen Nantian was too despicable. He must have known about it, but he didn't tell him. His sinister intentions could be imagined. The great devil was furious. On the other side, Lin Xian also frowned. What was going on? Why was the other party shouting Yen Nantian's name? Could it be that this matter had something to do with Yen Nantian? His face darkened when he thought of that. Could it be that Yen Nantian leaked his information and told the great devil? That was why the great devil was here to have a fated battle with him. A cold light appeared in his eyes when he thought of that. Yen Nantian deserved to die. After he dealt with the great devil, he definitely wouldn't let him off. Kid, you actually have the great dragon sword. That's unbelievable. Let's end this battle here. When I break through to the sage realm, I'll take your life. The great devil stood in the void with a cold expression and wanted to leave. Lin Xian sneered. Aren't you too naive? This is a fated battle. Do you think I'll let you leave? He slashed the mountains and rivers with his sword, blocking the other party's path. You dare to stop me? The great devil suddenly turned his head. His eyes turned into 2 black vortexes that could melt everything in the world. Boom, boom, boom. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. A huge black hole that was 1,000,000 miles long appeared in the void. However, that energy was destroyed by Lin Xian's sword. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous. So what if I stop you? I'm still going to kill you today. Sword energy erupted from his body and swept through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Endless sword energy formed a world of sword path that descended from the sky. Scram! The great devil roared. A demonic disc that could destroy the world appeared in his left hand. He directly rushed forward and destroyed all the sword energy. At the same time, he soared into the sky and pierced through the void with the great destruction spear. It seemed that he wanted to leave. Stay. Lin Xian held the great dragon sword and charged forward. Chapter 3267. This was a fated battle, a battle of life and death. How could he let the other party leave? If the other party left, there would always be a hidden danger, because once the other party's strength increased, he would come to kill him. He would not leave such trouble for himself. Therefore, this time, he would directly eliminate the other party to prevent future troubles. This scene happened too suddenly because no one expected the great demon to escape. One had to know that this was a fated battle. They would definitely fight to the death. Why would the other party suddenly escape? The Crimson Dragon was also stunned. In the next moment, he swung his dragon tail and instantly chased after the great demon with the snow-white monkey. 50 million miles away, the people of the 8 great families were also stunned. Heavens, what did they just see? The great demon had escaped, and the successor of the 9 sons had actually chased after him. The experts of the older generation were drooling. Was the fated battle going to end just like that? From the looks of it, the successor of the 9 sons had the upper hand. This time, the successor of the 9 sons was really too powerful. The young warriors were also exclaiming. However, a few old elders shook their heads. It was impossible. From the looks of it, the successor of the 9 sons didn't seem to want it to end so quickly. This is a big chase. Let's hurry up and take a look. They also rose into the air and flew into the distance. Of course, they didn't dare to fly too close. Soon, they laughed bitterly because they realized that they were overthinking. Even if they flew at full speed, they wouldn't be able to catch up with the other party. They could only follow based on the world-shaking energy they'd encountered along the way. In the void, the great demon turned into a demonic shadow and flew quickly, bringing with him endless demonic clouds. His speed was extremely fast. Ordinary half-saints couldn't catch up to him at all. However, he was confident that no half-saint could catch up to him. He even had a way to escape from a saint. But soon, the great demon frowned, and his expression became incomparably cold. That was because he realized that the other party's aura was behind him. Damn it, how is this possible? He can actually catch up to me. Impossible! The great demon hurriedly turned his head and looked over. Indeed, he saw the other party flying rapidly tens of millions of miles away. A sharp sword light sliced through everything and chased after him at high speed. Damn it, how can he be so fast? The great demon turned his head and accelerated again. Kid, are you going to chase after him? The Crimson Dragon was also behind. Lin Xian said, "That's right, I'll go after him. Rosalong, you follow behind. Don't show yourself just in case." The Crimson Dragon nodded and followed from a distance. In front, Great Demon had already flown around the elven planet and returned to the elven forest. However, he didn't expect that the other party was still following him. Damn it! With a furious roar, a cold glint appeared in his eyes. In the next moment, the demonic chi on his back circulated rapidly, forming a pair of black wings. The black wings flapped gently, and his speed exploded. The void shattered as he flew up into the sky. "Do you want to leave?" Lin Xian shouted coldly. Stepping on a dragon shadow, his body was covered in sword light. Like a giant sword that reached the heavens, he also charged forward. But soon, Lin Xian froze and came to a stop, floating in the void. Disappeared. The other party's traces had actually disappeared. This surprised him greatly. The Crimson Dragon behind him was also shocked. Not good. He probably used some secret technique to teleport away, right? Hearing this, Lin Xian's face turned terrifyingly gloomy. At the same time, in the sky above the elven planet, a figure appeared in the void of the universe. It was the Great Demon. At this moment, the Great Demon's expression was incomparably cold. He turned his head to look at the world of stars below as a cold light appeared in his eyes. This time, he was too careless. He didn't expect the other party to have the great dragon sword. This way, he wouldn't be able to defeat the other party at all. But it was impossible for the other party to kill him. As a great demon, he had many divine abilities and secret techniques at his disposal. What he was using now was a super powerful escape technique. Once he used this secret technique, he guaranteed that even saints wouldn't be able to catch up to him. Indeed, in the past, in the ancient times, there was a half-sage great demon in their race who relied on a secret technique to escape the pursuit of 2 saints. It should be easy to shake off the other party now. Damn brat, just you wait. When I break through to the Saint Realm, I will tear you into pieces. With that said, the great demon turned around and wanted to leave. But in the next moment, his body stiffened because he saw a beam of light shooting into the clouds from the huge world of stars below. In an instant, it pierced through countless astral winds and flew towards the outer realm. Not good. It's that brat. This was the aura of the 9 suns. He had just exchanged blows with the other party, so he naturally recognized the other party's aura. In the next moment, his expression changed drastically. He turned around and fled. Buzz. The black wings on the great demon's back spread open as he used his secret technique again and fled into the distance. He didn't even use his spirit boat and relied on the strength of his physical body to fly through the void of the universe. After using it 3 times, the great demon completely left the elven planet. He arrived in the depths of the universe. At the same time, above the elven planet, a golden figure tore through the void and also appeared. It was Lin Xian. At this moment, Lin Xian frowned. He actually left. He looked around. The surroundings were cold and pitch-black universe. Occasionally, streams of light would flash by, but there was no sign of the great demon. At the same time, another red figure appeared below. It was the Crimson Dragon. He came to Lin Xian's side and also frowned. Damn it, that guy ran away. Let's hurry up and get on the spirit boat to chase after him. At this point, the Crimson Dragon's dragon blood surged. They weren't saints yet, so it was too dangerous for them to walk in the void of the universe. Hence, they wanted to take the spirit boat. However, Lin Xian shook his head. The golden light in his eyes flickered as his heavenly secret divine eye scanned the surroundings. Soon he frowned. Disappeared? How was that possible? It seemed that the other party had used that kind of secret divine ability. Since the other party didn't take the spirit boat, he wouldn't do it either. Do you really want to suppress the other party in all aspects? The Crimson Dragon sighed. Up to you then. I'll take the spirit boat and follow you. The Crimson Dragon brought the snow-white monkey into the spirit boat. Lin Xian used his heavenly secret divine eye to capture the aura left behind by the great demon. He formed a seal with his palms. Above his head, a pair of golden eyes appeared in the void of the universe, looking down on the surroundings. The secret divine ability used by the great demon was very magical. It didn't leave any aura behind. Not to mention a half-saint. Even a saint wouldn't be able to find the great demon if they lost track of it. This was the great demon's ability to escape. However, he didn't expect that Lin Xian wasn't an ordinary half-saint. Lin Xian had a super powerful eye technique. At this moment, under the full power of his heavenly secret divine eye, he actually captured a trace of the great demon's aura. With that aura, Lin Xian was able to continue chasing after them. Found it? Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. His figure flashed, and he rushed over. Chapter 3268. After Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon left, another group of people rushed up from the star realm below. These people were from the 8 realms. They were not floating in the void. Instead, they were sitting in the spiritual boats and were extremely shocked. Through the arrays of the spiritual boats, they looked in all directions. Nothing. They looked at the vast universe around them and were stunned. No, they are too fast. We can't catch up with them. An old man shook his head. The other young geniuses were unwilling to give up. They wanted to see the final result. Therefore, many geniuses hurriedly said, "Let's hurry up and see if there are any traces around. We can follow them." These people hurriedly probed with their souls and searched in all directions. Some even used arrays. But soon, their faces became very ugly. They did not find any traces. These two people were really too powerful. Even when chasing and escaping, they didn't leave behind any information or clues. It was really hard to believe. Forget it. I don't think we can find anything. Why don't we just find a direction to search? As for whether we can find them or not, it will depend on our luck. Moreover, there should be many people who saw this chase. When the time comes, we just need to search according to the information. These people also left. They really could not find them, nor could they keep up with their speed. In fact, other half-saints would not be able to find them either. Only Lin Xian, who had the heavenly secret godly eyes, could find them. The great demon hid his aura and fled quickly. Lin Xian chased him all the way and left some terrifying aura. However, he was followed by the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon was behind, dealing with Lin Xian's aura and erasing it. After all, Lin Xian had told the Crimson Dragon to be careful and look after him. He suspected that Yan Nantian might be hiding nearby. After all, Yan Nantian was the one who gave him the information. Buzz, in the cold void of the universe, a black flowing light shuttled quickly. If one looked carefully, they would be shocked to see that this figure did not take a spiritual boat. Instead, he flew with his physical body, bringing with him powerful airwaves and monstrous demonic aura. This person was the great demon. He had already been flying for 3 days, and for the time being, he did not sense any killing aura behind him, which made him feel relieved. However, he soon frowned. He had been injured in the previous battle. Moreover, he had exhausted a large amount of energy while fleeing, so he didn't have much energy left now. He had to quickly rest and replenish his energy. The great demon looked into the distance. Soon, he discovered a star. Let's go to this star. With a loud boom, he flew rapidly towards the star realm below. Soon, he tore through the gale and fell down. The great demon's body was wrapped in demonic chi. The demonic chi and astral winds on his body clashed continuously, causing dazzling sparks to erupt. From afar, it looked like a meteor had descended from the sky, bringing with it a torrential blaze. With a loud boom, the great demon landed on the ground and pierced through the ground. Countless cracks spread out for millions of miles. This scene immediately caused many cultivators in this world to exclaim in surprise. Everyone looked up. They saw light flying in the sky. It was exceptionally dazzling, illuminating the entire area. The ground in the distance also began to rumble. What was that? Could it be that a rare treasure of heaven and earth had appeared? It was very likely. This was a phenomenon of heaven and earth. Only an extremely precious treasure could cause such a phenomenon of heaven and earth. Let's go and take a look. Many people soared into the sky. Among them were some top geniuses and experts. After the great demon landed on the ground, a terrifying deep pit was formed. He did not leave. Instead, he sat cross-legged in the deep pit and began to recover. He formed a seal with his palms and absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. At the same time, he took out a few black bottles from his storage ring. He poured out some spiritual liquid of heaven and earth and swallowed them. Damn it. How dare this guy make me so miserable? I won't let you off. As the great demon recovered, his face was terrifyingly dark. This time, he had indeed succeeded. Previously, he had traveled thousands of miles and crossed many worlds to hunt down the other party. However, he didn't expect the situation to take a shocking turn. The one being hunted was actually him. Fortunately, he had a secret technique which allowed him to escape. Humph! The great demon's expression was cold as he tried his best to recover. At the same time, the surrounding cultivators all rushed over. When they saw the terrifying cracks on the ground and the terrifying aura ahead, they all swallowed their saliva. Is it really a treasure? Why do I feel like a terrifying monster has been revived? Could it be a peerless monster? I don't know. Let's go and take a look. Even if it's a peerless monster, it's not bad either. Its blood, heart, monster core, and claws are all treasures. Many people's eyes lit up as if they were hunters who had seen their prey. These people walked forward quickly. The further they walked, the more cracks there were. They were densely packed and extremely terrifying. There was also a black light in front of them that surrounded them. They couldn't see clearly at all. What is it? However, they couldn't walk any further. Many people trembled. Some even vomited blood and flew backward. No, it's too terrifying. The aura ahead is too terrifying. Some people gave up. There were also some top geniuses and powerful experts who braced themselves and flew forward. They used their Dharma treasures, divine abilities, and secret techniques to explore with all their might. After walking for a while, they finally came to the front under immense pressure. However, when they saw the situation in the deep pit, they were all stunned. It's a person. It's actually a person. It was a terrifying figure covered in pitch black, flickering demonic runes. That person formed seals with both hands, and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth gathered crazily in his body, as if he was cultivating. Who is this person? Which sect is he from? They were extremely surprised. However, at this moment, their hearts trembled because they realized that the pitch-black figure sitting in front of them had opened his eyes. His eyes were incomparably black, like two black vortexes that were about to suck in their souls. Many people were shocked and subconsciously retreated. In the next moment, they screamed. They realized that their souls were really being sucked out by the black, vortex-like eyes. Buzz, their souls rose into the air and flew forward involuntarily. No, damn it, they screamed crazily, but soon they flew in front of the other party uncontrollably. In the next moment, the other party opened his mouth and swallowed their souls. How dare you spy on me? You're courting death. The great demon stood up and sneered. He stretched out his soul and found that other than these people, there were many people rushing over. Furthermore, those people had excited expressions on their faces. Chapter 3269. Do you really think I'm a treasure? He sneered and instantly arrived in front of the corpses. With a wave of his hand, he directly extracted the blood of those people, turned it into pure energy, and swallowed it. Demonic runes flickered on his body as he quickly absorbed it. If others saw this scene, they would definitely be scared silly. This method of absorbing energy was too terrifying. If others were to do this, they would probably explode and die in the end. But the great fiend was different. He was a fiend and cultivated a demonic cultivation technique. This kind of crazy absorption was normal for him. The people outside were puzzled. What was going on? Why were there screams inside? Could it be that there was some danger? Just as they were puzzled, they felt that the black light around them disappeared. Immediately after, a figure walked out. This person was as black as ink and had a tall figure. His body was surrounded by terrifying demonic chi, like a demon god. Who was this person? They looked ahead and saw a figure walking out of the deep pit. They were extremely shocked, feeling the aura on the other party's body. Their expressions became incomparably ugly. This place was too evil. It wasn't good to stay for long. Leave quickly. Many people's thoughts raced, wanting to retreat. Some people even took action. In an instant, they retreated tens of thousands of miles. Want to leave? Stay here for me. Demon swallows the world. The great fiend sneered. Demonic chi erupted from his body, instantly enveloping a radius of millions of miles. These people couldn't escape at all. Not good. They roared crazily, wanting to escape. But soon, they were engulfed by the demonic chi. In the next moment, Not even their bones were left. Their bodies and souls were destroyed. 5 million miles away, there were still many cultivators rushing over. But in the next moment, they stopped in their tracks because they discovered that the space in front of them had completely turned black. Clouds billowed and killing intent surged. It was a scene of destruction. And inside, countless screams came out. There were even law fragments waving, but in an instant, they disappeared. No way. Even a half-sage was killed. The scalps of these people tingled as they retreated crazily. The black space in front had already become a forbidden land of death. No one dared to go. Just like that, a day passed. In front, it was still pitch black. Everyone was shocked and curiously hid in the distance. They watched, but no one dared to take a step forward. Some people really didn't know. They thought that a demon god had descended. They all began to kowtow to the front. Within the boundless demonic chi, the great demon sat cross-legged. He glanced at the people around him and snorted coldly in disdain. These people were not worth his time. Right now, he needed to absorb the energy as quickly as possible so that he could continue his journey. However, at this moment, the great demon frowned. That was because he could feel a golden sword light shining in the sky. Then it was as if the entire world was being split apart. It formed a wave of air that spread to both sides. This scene was simply too astonishing. It was as if a pillar of flame had descended from the sky. Heavens, what happened this time? The warriors of Xia Fang's world raised their heads to look at the sky. They were all stunned. A miracle? Did another treasure appear? Oh no, it's that guy? Damn it. How did he get here so quickly? The great demon's expression changed. His body swayed, and the black wings on his back flapped. He immediately used a secret technique to escape from this world. As soon as he left, the golden light came down and split the black space in half. In the next moment, a tall man surrounded by flames appeared in the void like a god of war. He stepped on the ground and looked down with green runes in his eyes. He frowned. He's gone. This guy is quite smart. The person who came was Lin Xian. He snorted coldly and looked around. When the warriors of the surrounding worlds saw a person rushing down from the sky, they were so frightened that they knelt down. God, they kept exclaiming. Lin Xian ignored them and sent a voice transmission. Ruzalong, that guy just left this world. Stay outside and blast him down. In the spirit boat, the Crimson Dragon was stunned when he heard that. However, in the next moment, he rushed out. He did not attack. Instead, he took out 8 sets of array formations. These array formations were usually refined by him. They were 8 peerless killing arrays. At this moment, he activated them and absorbed the power of heaven and earth, the sun and the moon. As soon as the 8 killing arrays appeared, they covered the world. Immediately, a figure was forced out. How dare you stop me? The great fiend roared crazily. The Crimson Dragon sneered. Get lost! Boom! A violent collision sounded, and endless light exploded. Fortunately, they had already arrived in the outer realm. The pitch-black universe was illuminated. Cracks appeared on the 8 array formations, and they were about to shatter. Damn it! Why is this guy so powerful? The Crimson Dragon frowned. The 8 peerless killing arrays can't even withstand a single attack from the other party. However, at this moment, he heaved a sigh of relief because he saw that Lin Xian had made his move. Below, Lin Xian made his move while sending the voice transmission. He reached out a large golden hand and grabbed upwards. In an instant, he passed through the clouds and arrived in the outer realm. The large golden hand directly enveloped the great fiend. The great fiend could have escaped, but because of the 8 killing arrays, he was stopped for a while. However, at this moment, Lin Xian seized the opportunity. In an instant, he was surrounded. Then he grabbed him and dragged downwards. With a bang, the large golden hand dragged the great fiend and landed on the ground. Boom! The ground shattered again, and a crack of millions of miles spread out. Those people in the distance were scared out of their wits. They were sent flying by a terrifying force. They scrambled back, their faces filled with fear. It was too terrifying. Who was this person? They couldn't even withstand the aftermath of a casual attack. Boom, boom, boom. In front of him, black lightning pierced through the golden palm of light. The great fiend soared into the sky. He used the great destruction spear to pierce through Lin Xian's palm and flew into the distance again. Want to leave? Do you think you can? Lin Xian snorted coldly and quickly soared into the sky. The great fiend's body emitted an incomparable light. Terrifying fragments of fire laws danced in the air, forming a flame giant that roared at the sky. He wanted to completely suppress the great fiend. Chaotic Fiend Fist. The great fiend didn't even look back. He threw out countless fist shadows that pierced through the void and charged downwards. Buzz. Lin Xian split these black fist shadows with a sword. At the same time, he frowned. This great fiend's strength had actually recovered. It was really shocking. He held the dragon-shaped sword Shadow, and terrifying sword energy swept out in all directions. The great fiend's pupils constricted, and all the hair on his body stood on end. He couldn't block the great dragon's sword, so he quickly fled. However, he was still hit by this sword energy and flew into the distance, spitting out a mouthful of blood again. 10,000 fiend blood sacrifice. The great fiend quickly formed seals. Fiend chi overflowed into the sky, and these martial artists within 10 million miles suddenly split open, turning into a blood mist. Even their souls were imprisoned by this fiend chi. Chapter 30-270. They screamed crazily and wanted to beg for mercy, but the great demon didn't show mercy. He was using an extremely terrifying and cruel divine power. This divine power needed to refine the cultivators alive and sacrifice them to the demon god. Within 10 million miles, those cultivators who were watching from afar and hadn't run away all had their bodies split open. Under the guidance of the black gas, they formed black runes. Soon it enveloped Lin Xian. This array formation was extremely terrifying. It caused ghostly wails and wolf howls. It carried an extremely strong resentment, as if it wanted to tear Lin Xian into pieces. Lin Xian could clearly feel that the blood in his body was about to be ignited and burned. What a terrifying array formation! He snorted coldly and stomped his foot. A powerful aura swept in all directions. He punched out and directly shattered the array formation. However, the array formation quickly healed itself and charged towards Lin Xian again. Little brat, just obediently go to hell. The great demon sneered. However, this was the truth. Lin Xian used the great dragon sword soul to split open the array formation. Boom. A vacuum area was created in the array formation, but it quickly healed. How strange. It couldn't be completely destroyed. He was too surprised. The great dragon sword soul was so powerful, but this array formation could be reborn. It was really surprising. However, he still created a vacuum area. Therefore, with his speed, Lin Xian rushed out. He charged towards the great demon again. The great demon snorted coldly and waved his hand. The terrifying array formation came to his side and enveloped him. This was equivalent to having an additional set of armor. Moreover, it was a set of armor that could recover. Terrifying sword Qi surrounded Lin Xian. In his hand, the great dragon sword soul released a terrifying light as he slashed forward. On the other side, the great demon activated the blood sacrifice array formation. Ghostly wails and wolf howls filled the air, as if hell had reappeared in the mortal world. The two collided. The great demon was sent flying and spat out a mouthful of blood. A huge crack appeared in the blood sacrifice array formation in front of him. In the crack, all sorts of souls screamed and blood chi filled the air. A vacuum area appeared. The great demonic will revolved and the blood-colored array formation began to heal. However, he was actually unable to completely heal it. The remnant aura on it was too strong, and it forcefully split the formation apart. Damn it. How could he be so strong? The demon was shocked, and his face was really ugly. If it was any other half-saint in his place, then that half-saint would have probably died 1,000 times by now. Moreover, he wasn't an ordinary half-saint, but now he was unable to stop the other party. The black wings on his back appeared once more as the great demon madly displayed his secret technique. This time, crimson light shrouded his body. Clearly, he had activated his bloodline ability. Wung, his body instantly disappeared into the void. Not good. The crimson dragon unleashed a formation to isolate the great demon. But this time around, the great demon's secret technique was extremely terrifying as it disappeared from the starry sky. Golden light flickered in Lin Xian's eyes. They transformed into two golden beams of divine light that pierced through the void as he stared fixedly into the distance. What incredible speed! This time, even he was moved. He had to admit that the great devil was indeed a powerful enemy. But this time, he was determined to kill the other party. With a stomp of his foot, he soared into the sky and charged out as well. Soon, the two of them disappeared from this world of stars. Only then did the people in the world below dare to raise their heads. They looked at the shattered void and the remnant sword energy in the sky. They were extremely shocked. Heavens, have these two demon-like figures finally left? The great demon used his secret technique to avoid Lin Xian's pursuit. He flew again. 5 days later, his face turned completely gloomy because he discovered that the other party had caught up to him again. Damn it, how did the other party find him? He didn't know. One had to know that if he wanted to leave, even a saint wouldn't be able to find him. The other party must have other treasures on him that could track his tracks. On the 7th day, Lin Xian completely caught up to the great demon. The two of them started a huge battle. The great demon didn't hesitate and directly used the great destruction spear. Lin Xian also used the great dragon sword soul. The two of them fought until the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The two of them fought as they flew. Wherever they passed, endless light flickered, illuminating the dark universe. Terrifying energy swept in all directions. In the end, the great demon's body shattered and was slashed apart by the sword. He dragged his broken body and used his secret technique again to escape. Just like that, he fled and fought. Lin Xian actually chased after him for more than half a year. And in this half a year, the records of the array formations brought back by the 8 great families spread. Everyone knew that an unknown battle had happened in the elven forest on the elven planet. Moreover, it was very likely that it was the most dazzling battle in the past few thousand years on the ancient path of stars. The great demon actually appeared. The successor of the 9 suns was actually so terrifying. Heavens! Was the power of the great demon's great destruction spear so terrifying? It could definitely pierce through a saint. Damn it, what was the successor of the 9 suns holding in his hand? It could actually contend against the great destruction spear? Many powerhouses were shocked after watching the battle. At the same time, they were even more puzzled. Where did these two people go now? They didn't know. Those people from the 8 great families' side. We don't know either. We chased them out of the elven planet, but the two of them were too fast, and we couldn't catch up at all. This news spread at an extremely fast speed. In an instant, many worlds knew about it. When those young geniuses and older powerhouses saw this scene, they all sighed. Strong. They were simply too strong. Among the half-sages, no one could suppress the other party. In fact, even saints probably didn't have the confidence to suppress these two people. They might even be killed by these two people instead. At the same time, in the distant starry sky, another piece of news quickly spread. Lin Xian had chased after the great demon for more than half a year. This time, he actually came to the vicinity of the Langya star. The Langya star was a very strange star world. In the outer realm, there were countless figures who had come to seek information. These people came from different worlds of stars. This time, the great demon flew to the vicinity of the Langya star. The people near the Langya star looked at him, and their pupils constricted. Who was this person? The aura on his body was too terrifying. It was as if they were facing a great enemy. Great demon, you can't escape. Right at this moment, a biting cold voice came from the distant void. It was like thunder that resounded in all directions. Immediately after, a golden war god figure whose entire body was like fire rushed over. He held a divine sword in his hand and slashed out. A terrifying crack spread in all directions. Not good. When those people saw this scene, their scalps went numb, and they hurriedly left. Countless spirit ships flew into the distance, and a vacuum appeared in the universe. The great demon turned his head and looked behind with a sinister expression. Damn successor of the 9 sons, don't go overboard. What? This was the great demon and the successor of the 9 sons. The people who had fled in the distance were stunned when they heard this news. No way. Could this be a fated battle? You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.